Okay, welcome to Contra Gentile Season 3, Episode 6. I don't have to think about it anymore. Do they use a bit of it to like, oh, okay.
I don't know, but cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Gin and tonic's just easy.
Quinine.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a black light and see it through the glowing thing sometime.
Okay, there we go.
What are these? I remember seeing these before. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
It's fruit paste on a sheet. But yeah.
Like
how
little kids eating kid snacks.
I know. How are you doing?
I'm good. Growing up, my mom never bought these.
Why?
What
What weird thing did she have to say about them? What reason?
Too expensive.
They're not really.
Like brand name shit was always too expensive. Like she bought us like these real fruit ones that were
This
cheaper.
looks so weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a fruit leather.
Yeah.
Who makes those? Anyway, do you have any funny stories? Anything interesting things happening to you, or
No.
are you too busy for your humor?
Mm-hmm. Something might come up, but I'm it's probably the least prepared I've been on a show right now in a long time. I shouldn't say ever, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't know how to be unprepared anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We literally have no topic to discuss at all.
Just be us staring at each other
I know.
for about an hour and a half.
Oh, I'll remind people this is on YouTube if you want to watch us stare at each other.
Mm-hmm.
On Contra Gentiles.
Contra Gentiles.
Smash that motherfucking like if you up.
Yes.
Were you around on Facebook for that?
Mm-mm.
It was late 2000s, early 2010s.
Or smash motherfucker up.
Smash that motherfucking like if you up. Was a meme.
It's weird. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, you smash that motherfucking like if you up. If you're awake.
Oh, if you're up. Okay.
You're like,
okay.
what you mean is your dick up?
Yeah. I was about to say that, actually. I was like, I don't get that.
Smash
like
that
if you're
motherfucking
hard.
like if you are.
Yeah.
If your penis is rigid, hit like and subscribe.
Wow.
If the vid makes you horny.
Well, yeah, you said about social networking, right?
Oh, should we just go right into it?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of like a bullshit topic. We
Well, we did just start about
out.
Facebook. Okay. I think it's interesting. I don't remember what I was watching last night.
Yeah.
It was about some social media thing, and it just kind of dawned on me that I think that there's something, because you can make the generational argument as like this generation's bad with social media and this one's not, and I think that you could say the youngest generation is good at it just because they've been trained since birth,
Right? Yeah.
to use it, but there has to be something dispositional about the older people, meaning millennials and older, that either get it or don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I don't think you can just say
It's kind
all older people are bad at it. 'Cause
exactly.
It's patently not true.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Trump, but
What?
because like Trump was good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I found this shit pretty funny.
But you have no idea what he's doing and why.
No.
Kind of, really. Like,
Yeah. But I do think a lot of people also got irritated by it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if he was actually good at it or if he
just
was,
what he said was...
yeah, or that he was just so off the cuff that
It worked.
That it worked, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if he would ever use it for business and actually communicate with people. He's not trying to troll. That's
what social media is.
Okay, yeah, but it's like he made Twitter just into his personal ranting and trolling.
You can
space.
use... I think the problem with approaching it from like a business perspective and like using it to network with people
Yeah.
is that's not really how people use it.
Mm-hmm.
Trolling is a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's just virality is kind of how it operates.
And
how
so,
you gain popularity is...
So maybe the predisposition is whether you can know how to troll people.
Mm-hmm. Or how to get people's attention, or
Yeah.
say things that make people mad or
Right, yeah.
irritated or super happy or whatever.
Right, yeah, and I guess it's just that there's no, like, I don't understand the line either. Because it would be very easy for me to make people mad. I could just go on there and just call every black person an N-word.
Yeah.
Or I could be like, it'll be actually quite simple. Just find somewhere that kind of looks like transgender, be like, hey, fag. And it'd be like, oh, yeah, that. But then people would say I'm probably crossing the line. Mm-hmm. Or like my friend Wesley says that I have no chill. I don't fully comprehend what that means. But it's...
You're 0 or 100.
Okay, is that really what it means? Yeah,
you can't moderate your.
Yeah, because like when I made that picture of him looking at porn in here, like he just couldn't believe it. He was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" It's just weird. I don't know. It's like I know what to do to piss people off. Right?
You need to explain what the porn thing was.
Yeah. He was actually in this studio and he was on his computer. And
he's just a friend.
Yes, he's just a friend. But he takes like these selfies that I guess is kind of popular with people who want to become more influencers and stuff online.
Yeah.
And the guys tend to look kind of stupid all the time. They have the mouth open like, just something weird.
They're like, they turn around and they're like, I'm working on the computer.
Yes, yeah. And it annoys the shit out of me, like really bad. So
Super
whenever I
homo.
see his, I always do shit just to bother him. And so that particular one was the porn. So on his computer, I photoshopped gay porn on there.
Oh, like he's like with his selfie. Yeah. What were they doing in the gay porn?
I can't fully remember. I think he had his legs up and just like fucking him in the ass.
Okay.
Yeah, just something like that.
But like a shot at the guy who's doing the banging.
Yeah. Like both of them were on there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And and so like we saw that, and I was ready to post it on Facebook, but first I just texted it to him, and he was like, "Fuck no, don't do that, man." You got zero chill, man. I was like, I don't know what, or no chill, whatever it was. I don't know what that means. Because if the game of trolling is pissing people off, that's a very easy thing to do.
Like when the car crash guys were
attacking
the car crash guy.
Yes,
and you were like, let's fuck 4-year-old kids, and he's like, whoa.
And they don't really get it. Yeah. It's like
and you got banned for an hour or whatever it was. You went from. What? How long was that interaction? 15 minutes?
Yeah, something.
You engaged for 15. You were so mad that you engaged for 15 minutes and got yourself banned that fast. You kamikaze.
I said a lot of things. I don't even remember what I said, but it's just pretty simple. And most of the times it's nonsensical, Like I remember, like in high school, there was this one fat chick that she really wasn't that fat, but my taste in women tends to be that if you just have to, be pretty thin.
Ariana Grande.
Yes, you have to be thin to be like attractive. And so she was just, probably a little bit chubby, probably like size 8 or 10 pants or whatever. So it isn't huge. It's like size 14 or 16.
It's very normal.
Right, yeah. But yeah, she was bothering one of my friends. And, he was just kind of taking in. She was being a bitch. And she was like a rich girl, blonde, rich. Her dad got like a new car when she was 15 or 16 or whatever. And so then I just got annoyed with it. So I just started attacking her. And the things I was saying just really wasn't.
You don't mean physically.
No. Just verbally. And the thing I was saying, it becomes nonsense.
It's like you choked your dog out last week.
Yes, yeah.
You beat a woman up this week.
No, I was just like, I just kept calling her fat. I'd be like, what do you say, little fatty? And then she was like, "What?" And I said something, and she said, "Well," I was like, "Well, you have too much fat in your ears. You can't hear me." And so I was just like constantly attacking what I know is going to bother her because like I observed her like a time she was trying to eat rice cakes to be a little more thin. So I just I just insulted her weight constantly to the point that she kind of I think she cried, but she like walked up and left. Because it's easy, but probably people would think that the modern term for that is you have no chill, and just because I go to a point where I know it doesn't make any sense, but it bothers people, and it bothers them to the point that they don't know what to say, and what to do, and so I guess I don't understand trolling because then trolling makes no sense to me. If the game it's like if I get into a fist fight, I don't stop until they're like unconscious, crying for the mom. Like I tell them to cry for their mom, or like really bloody, right? And so there's a few times where I got on top of the guy and I started really pounding him, And they said, cry for your fucking mom. Cry for your mom. And I just kept doing it until they do it, you know. And then his nose is all bloody. And he's like, mom. I was like, good, you fucking bitch. He's crying for his mom. Look at this bitch. and so, yeah. But again, maybe people think that's a bit.
That's insane.
No chill.
Well, it depends on what the guy did, but you know.
Yeah, he was picking on a retard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The picking on a retard story.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big difference between... Because I really don't think that if no one told you how to talk to people, you'd be very good at talking to people. I think it's the autism or whatever.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I don't think you would care enough to pick up social cues.
Right.
I think when like someone gets upset by something, you're like, "What?" and somebody else goes, "Okay, when you say this to this person's going to do this," and then you're and then you lock it in and you remember.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can just intuit how. Or you're not super.
I observe it, and so it is not people tell me, but it is a conscious thing.
You have to.
Yeah, like I have to consciously think about people behavior, and I've noticed that when I was younger because we moved around a lot.
Yeah.
So I went to 11 different schools, and so going to each and multiple states, and so like going to these social categories, you really realize what people find humorous, what they don't find humorous, you know, blah blah blah, and all that shit. That yeah, I had to always consciously think about it. It isn't intuitive in that sense.
Yeah, because I think that there's a level of social intuition required of people to be really good at social media and stuff like that, or to do well, like interact with people in a fluid way online because you can't watch them.
Right.
You have to read all of it.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I'm terrible on phones.
Yeah. Like
I can't see their face.
Yeah. There's something about you that inherently just would make you bad at it. Because there's people your age that are great at it.
Yes, definitely.
And so I don't buy the generational thing.
Yeah.
I just think that younger people who would have had the same issue were raised in it. So they kind of know how to do it.
Yes.
As like a.
But if I was raised in it, I at least probably would have been able to have observed it longer.
Yes.
And understand how the game is played. But I just didn't observe it, and I never really partook. And so, I mean, could I learn? Maybe. I don't care to, I guess. Yeah. The kind of effort that will go into me thinking about.
You have to spend all day doing it.
Yes, and it's such a bizarre thing that when we talked about it at length before, it's such a bizarre thing for me. Yeah. That I guess it's part of it. It's just I just don't care enough to learn. Yeah, the social, you know.
I just think it's funny that you're
limitations.
Like, people know you're on there, but you're like never on there.
Yes. yeah, I think you made me the account.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. You'll like a tweet like once or twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every once in a while.
I'll see you come up. You'll like one of my tweets. I'm like,
yeah.
There he is.
This is good. That's interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
But
like one of the things is if you're going to reply to somebody, if you don't want them to take it as aggressive, you have to like their tweet first.
Yeah, you see things like that. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you have to like the tweet and then reply, because then you risk ratioing them.
What does that mean, ratioing them?
It's so different kinds of ratios would be if this one tweet has 10 likes, if the reply to it gets more likes than the original one, that's a ratio. Oh. Because the reply got more attention than more likes.
And you don't want that. Why would
it would be bad for someone to do that to you.
Oh, but
what?
That just happened to Amy. Amy's comments got more likes than the original post. I was wondering why she pointed that out.
Yeah, it's ratioing. Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want that? I mean,
it's just like emasculating. It's just just like loser. Your replies got more likes than your original.
Yeah.
Or if someone quote tweets you,
and
the quote tweet gets more likes than your original one. Or if you have more replies than likes, that's ratioing. There's all these different kinds of ratios.
So if you don't like the person, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot.
That's weird. Yeah.
We have King of Ratios coming on next week. But
oh, is he?
Yeah.
So he
Pulpo. Yeah.
Okay. Well, who are these people? I just want to know.
They're two hosts
Pulpo. I'm assuming that's a stage name.
Yeah.
Okay.
El Pulpo. Pulpo? Because I want to say pulpo, but you know.
Yeah.
It's El Pulpo.
Okay.
His Pulpo is his thing. He is known for replying with photos that include his scrotum in the corner as like trolls.
Oh, really?
He's like trolls people with pictures of his
Yeah.
balls, but like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Andrew Yang retweeted him
Really?
like a picture of his balls.
That's a
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
We'll have him you can ask him. But.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Steppy's one of the other guys. Steppy.
Oh, Steppy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Oh, is he?
He's the Protestant though, so that might be
Okay.
entertaining.
Yeah.
One of the other hosts is Bert, and he's much more aggressively anti-Catholic in a way that's funny. But
Oh, is it?
so,
But we're just gonna have two of them on.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're all very hard to schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of hosts.
Okay, cool.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that didn't lead to anything. We're still floating. Generally, it gets funny.
Yeah.
We'll get intoxicated a bit. You know,
Yeah.
you look desperate. Your eyes are like,
Do I? No.
no, you're good. You're good.
I'm just enjoying the drink.
I know it's. All right. Anyway, I was gonna ask you if you have issues with dry skin.
Why? Because I'm part black.
No, because my thumb is like
Oh,
splitting apart.
yeah. Yeah, they always talk about like blacks having ashy.
Are you
elbows and
ashy?
shit. No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that actually.
Is he ashy? Okay. She would. She watches you walk by and you're like dusting your elbows and your knees. You're not ashy. Calm down.
Yeah.
She's like checking her elbows.
Grandma used to call me Ashy.
Really? Maybe when you were a kid. You take care of yourself now. Nice.
Yeah.
I ate so much Spam earlier today.
Did you
I
really?
feel disgusting.
I think the only Spam I really had was that.
The
I think it's
musubi.
Hawaiian
The
dish.
musubi, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the ones that I brought in previous.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
love
that's
Spam.
about it. It's good actually.
Yeah, disliking Spam is just like it's people look at like mystery meat. It's like no, they have all the ingredients on the website. Like you know what's in it.
What is it?
It's just mechanically separated ham.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and some like
So it's just like the
preservatives.
leftover ham, like chicken nuggets, basically. Is like
No,
that.
it's
Yeah.
ham.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's just like ham. It's ham, like separated and blended, and then
Put it back
with
together,
stuff in it,
gelatinous.
with like with some like seasoning in it, and then
Yeah.
they just put it in the cans, and they,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
it's nothing weird. I mean, it looks kind of weird. It goes like comes out of the can.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I've opened a can of that yet.
yeah, you have the little tab, and he goes,
But I could
goes like,
imagine, yeah.
and then like,
Yeah.
and then you like flip it over, and like, and it comes out.
Yeah.
It's like, boom, and
Hmm.
you just cut it, dice it up, put it in fried rice. Oh my god,
Yeah, it's good.
Spam fried rice.
Yeah. Well, I could imagine because that rice thing was really good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like that one.
I love Spam. I'm a Spam guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my banner on Twitter still. It's been forever. It's just Spam.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is so
It's going to be a
entertaining.
pretty bad episode.
We'll find something to talk about.
People are going to be like, why am I listening?
No.
Oh
What was the
my gosh.
last one? The one I named the worst episode we ever made or something? That one was pretty good.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
We can name this the actual worst episode we ever
Yeah,
made.
yeah. Then this one is actually bad.
This is actually the worst
Yes,
one.
yeah. It had like nothing to really
I know.
bring to the table in terms of discussion. I don't know. I guess there's just not much interesting things happen. We already talked about
Well,
the
I mean,
war on the last
Russia.
episode, yeah. And that's becoming more of a shit show. And gas is stupidly expensive now.
I was actually filling my tank up on whatever,
Yeah.
whatever the second most recent time I was getting gas or something. And as it was filling up, I watched the number jump 10 cents on the thing,
Oh,
which
really?
I don't think that doesn't apply to if you're actively filling
Yeah.
it, but it literally went from $3.79 to $3.89, like right.
Yeah.
It just went tick
Well, now it's $4.29. It's ridiculous.
in the valley.
Here it's pretty bad too. I think it's
In-
above $4 here too.
In Eagle River, I just got it yesterday and it was $3.89.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think this one in Anchorage is still, it's like 4 something.
Gross.
Yeah. Because Anchorage actually has higher taxes for gas than the valley, and so it tends to be more expensive here.
Yeah, Eagle River's never that bad.
Yeah.
There's the one place on the Old Glen
Mm-hmm.
near like the senior center.
Oh, I know that
That is
one.
like stupid cheap gas.
Yeah, that's always the cheapest one.
Yeah.
That's one my dad always went to.
Yeah, I love that one. It's right next to Bella Vista.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Just like, but I mean, there's not much else to really discuss about it. Things are becoming a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking a lot longer for Putin to take over than he thought it would.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing.
It's kind of bad. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Ukraine doing something for itself is kind of
Yeah,
badass.
it's very badass.
The president doesn't leave.
I know. I'm actually really impressed with Ukraine. It's like,
That's cool, and that's like where it's not when you said that you're a Putin guy. It's not that you're a Putin guy. It's that you think Putin's a badass, and if somebody else is being badass, you're
of
gonna
course,
recognize
yes,
their badassery.
Yeah. It's even more badass than Putin in that sense, because I mean, Ukraine is the only one in this conflict that's justified to fight back and kill and everything, and with the just war doctrine of Aquinas and everything. So it's like,
What's the just war doctrine?
I mean, shit. I have to look up all the right principles, but essentially, it's argued that has to be very specific realities that manifest that can justify the war, which in most cases is just self-defense. Like if you want to sum it up to the most basic thing, like being an aggressor of some sort is never really justified.
Sounds like an anarchist.
Yeah, but yeah, and so if you want to call the war just, then you say that you are actually morally justified in doing it.
So the Crusades were just because
yes, they were overtaken.
The
by
Mohammedans
took over the land, and so they were protecting the land and tried to take it back. And so yeah, that was definitely a just war.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so it's just that I think some people probably misinterpreted my admiration of Putin as being like I find.
I don't think it
war,
upset anybody.
Yeah, it isn't that I find his war justified. I actually think it's not justified because he's being the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
But I also just don't really buy into the propaganda that it was an unprovoked attack. I don't think any war really is unprovoked. I think,
unprovoked just would imply randomness.
Right, and it's not random. I mean, there's
a lot of incentive.
Ukraine as being, the nation between the East and the West, they were becoming more and more westernized, and they were doing things and creating propaganda for their own citizens to hate Russia, and so on and so forth. And they're trying to enter the EU, blah blah blah. I guess now they actually are part of the EU.
That actually went through?
I believe so. Yeah.
I got stupid for the EU.
Yeah.
Why would you admit a country that's being actively attacked by Russia?
I know.
So that you can be justified in attacking?
I guess.
Because then it makes it self-defense.
It's almost like virtue signaling in the worst sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me why an organization would want to admit a nation that's being invaded.
Yeah.
The only reason, if you want to be justified in attacking as well.
Yeah. And that's probably what it is. I think that if it keeps going, maybe the EU will get involved. I don't know. I think
that seems like the only reason you do it.
Yeah.
Ukraine's not economically stable.
No. Yeah.
Like they're not,
Yeah.
Like I know, like the Czech Republic wasn't ever. They aren't on the euro. They're a European Union country. They're in the EU, but their currency is too unstable.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Actually.
Yeah, but there's something about economic stability that
Yeah,
it makes sense that if you wanted a country to use your money,
I didn't know the Czech Republic was part of the EU. Actually, yeah. Okay.
They just don't use the euro.
Yeah, the same way that England when they used to be part of the EU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, and so we'll see what happens with that. I don't think much good.
Yeah.
I don't see Putin giving up, and so.
You see nukes popping?
Yeah, potentially, and I think the more that the West keeps creating propaganda to be anti-Russian, it's just gonna.
What do you think of that? The shutting, where they're like bars are pouring out all their Russian vodka.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I mean, again, it's just virtue signaling in a stupid sense. And so I don't know. I don't know what they attempt to accomplish with that besides feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
And pissing off Putin. And so, yeah, I just think it's not really going to end well. And even if somebody ends up killing Putin, do you really think the next person in is going to be any better?
No.
He's probably going to be more pissed, you know? And then he'd be more pro-Russian. He's going to really begin to attack and everything. And so I don't know. Like, I don't really see it ending well. You know, I think I would rather and you know, see Ukraine just being overtaken than seeing a full-blown world war happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this sucks, yes, but in the largest scheme
it's
of
almost
things,
like it's Ukraine just needs to take the hit.
yeah, pretty much. So, okay,
Well, then he wouldn't stop there. Look,
He
if
might
he's gonna
not, I
pivot
don't
into
know.
Moldova.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, it might just be a shit show, and there's nothing that we can do to stop it, you know, besides be stronger and fight back.
It's amazing how like the Biden administration is essentially to blame for,
Yes, everything.
or at least everything coming to fruition the way it did.
Yeah.
It was just kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's weak, and there's no way anybody could say that he's not weak. And Putin saw weakness.
Did you watch a State of the Union thing?
Try to.
You
It
couldn't
was
watch
really, I didn't finish it, no.
No.
But then I went back towards the, oh my gosh, that was so weird.
Did you see Chuck Schumer stand up too early?
Yes, yeah. it was just bad. I don't know what anybody, it's embarrassing. And yeah, I think Putin saw the weakness and decided this is probably the best time to do it.
Well, he'd already done it. He'd already been invading. Oh,
Yeah.
the weakness from Biden in general.
Yeah.
I thought you meant from the State of the
Oh,
Union.
no, just weakness from Biden.
I like how the more press conferences I hear from Biden,
Yeah.
the more he's just talking like this the whole time.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
just not even just doesn't even talk full volume anymore.
Yeah. Could you imagine like a Kamala presidency for the last 2 years?
It might happen.
I know.
I think he'll resign way before he dies. I don't think he's going to die
Yeah,
in
you don't
office.
think so? Yeah.
No,
Unless
No.
somebody kills him.
that won't happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to. I think he's just going to walk away.
No, I mean like secretly kill him and say he died of natural causes.
Oh,
I could see that.
Cuban style.
Yeah, I mean Kamala's corrupt enough. I think she slept her way into the fucking
Yeah, I know.
into the position
She
that
blew
got
her
in.
way into
Yeah,
into the
she's-
vice presidency.
it wouldn't shock me. Of okay, she's kind of slimy.
Yeah.
You know, she sees him.
She
He
has a
could
weird
die.
neck.
Yeah.
She's a really weird, like,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
triangle neck.
Yeah. And she's weird looking. You know, she kind of looks like she has a stank puss.
Oh,
And it's
is
just
that
kind
a
of
look?
yeah, just like you look at her, it's like, you know, just you don't want to smell. Anything that comes from her.
Vagina.
Yeah, just
Okay.
yeah, she's something about her that I find very gross.
Amanda's
and just-
shaking her head.
just
Like when Amanda's shaking her head and no one's watching her, so I know it's just her shaking her head of her own volition.
yeah, I just imagining that. Honestly, I think will be worse than Biden.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Biden is kind of useless and weak.
What is
but
it? What it is time to do what we have been doing. It is time to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
She is just so stupid. Yeah, it's bad. So I don't know. Hopefully not a world war, but if it happens, it happens. It just shit happens.
Alaska's gone.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, the West is going to have to fall at some point. It's so both morally corrupt and I think economically corrupt. It just has to collapse, and maybe this is the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And then
That was pretty fast.
yeah,
Well,
it is pretty fast. It didn't even
What
reach
did- how-
300
what did we-
years.
no, the U.S.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I think you said the West.
yeah, but
The West as it is.
Yeah, the West as it is, I think, was very heavily influenced by the U.S. Up to this point, and I just don't think it could sustain itself. You know, you really saw this at the beginning of the collapse with a civil war, and I think now it's just a shit show. I can't see anybody actually talking positive about the country. Nobody does, neither the left or the right.
Or people who are delusional.
Yes, yeah. But everybody on the left and right talks about the shit show that the country is, and I think it's
What if the U.S. just broke up?
That could be, yeah. That could be a big part of it, but I don't think they're going to break up until there's actual war. I think
whether internal or external, or
I think if we get into an external world war,
it'll devolve.
I can't imagine the country kind of staying together, especially if Putin just sends a nuke over to the U.S. I think it's just done at that point. I think we're so fragile as a country. We're so divided. We're so fragile that something like that would just people would just be like, I'm done. Why continue it at that point? You know, it's almost like prolonging a very long breakup. Yeah. And then, you know, then the person gets AIDS and then you're like, okay, yeah, we're done. You know, I don't want AIDS. And I think it's kind of like
what it took.
Yes. I think that Tom Obama would be like AIDS. And so, yeah.
So the Biden administration is AIDS.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Nobody just wants to
What's
touch
the
that anymore.
World War? The World War is an AIDS orgy, and you don't want to be in the
global
AIDS orgy.
I don't want AIDS.
Okay.
You know, it just and so I think the country is pretty much done if we actually go to a world war. If there is no world war out of this, it would just be prolonging the breakup. I don't know. It's everything is just so stupid. Everything is stupid. That it's hard to really comment on it intelligibly right now. I don't know. It just whatever you watch, right? Whether somebody watches like the Daily Wire or they watch the Young Turks or they watch anything, it's just about people talking about how shitty our country is.
Yeah.
And both of their criticisms many times are accurate.
Yeah.
And we could and I think when they try to hold their side and say that the other one's inaccurate, it just gets kind of stupid. You know, it even goes back like to the something simple like the whole racism argument and everything, right? It's like, you know, the way that the left presents it is as if everybody that is not white is like getting oppressed systemically by everything that kind of exists in the environment or the ethos of the United States. And then the right talks about how none of them are ever really, that there is no systemic oppression and everything. It's like, well...
There's obviously systemic oppression.
There's obviously the case that...
Well, I don't like systemic.
I don't like that terminology, but there obviously is a case where you can say that we are predominantly a white nation. Like how much percent of our country is
60?
Yeah, 60%. And probably majority of that 60% is Anglo. Yeah. And so we're like predominantly Anglo or Anglo-Saxon.
Well, culturally especially.
Yes, culturally white.
Depending on where
people.
You go.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, being that, you cannot say that, therefore, the white person has no privilege. It's like, yeah, he does, of course, because people relate to each other better than they relate to foreigners, or they relate to people that have different viewpoints or different beliefs or whatever. And so anybody that has been in the workforce and they worked in like you know, you work in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and then you're a Latino with a heavy accent, or you are a black person that, you know, likes to fucking dress the way that they do with untied shoes and saggy pants or whatever. It's going to be very hard for them to progress with their career, with their jobs, or anything. I think it's
because you just don't know what to do.
Like if you don't, right? And people relate to each other better. Like you could take Steve Ellis, for example, right? Yeah. He has been looking for an older white dude to take over. Yeah. Like at all times, that's what he's been in search for. And then when he found him, it's like now you know, I'm gonna have like a 2-hour, you know, interview with you downstairs doing God knows what, you know, and
fellatio.
Yes. But that is a normal everyday narrative that people who are not white encounter. And for many of the white people to kind of dismiss that and say that that doesn't exist, well, that's stupid. Of course it exists. You have certain.
The question is whether it's morally wrong or not.
Right. Yeah, and that's the question, and whether you can rise above it or not. And so, like the big thing that I don't like about the left is that they just bitch about it, they complain about it, and they want to force people to change their minds. It's like, well, don't do that. Understand the game. Understand where your position is in that game, and try to leverage your gifts and your talents to overcome any challenges that you have, because everybody has a certain challenge. Like they're right when they talk about like, what's some of the stupid names that come up with this shit is like tall privilege, right? Like, yes, I think there has been no president that has been shorter than like 6 foot or whatever. It's like, yes, there
in the last however long.
I think ever. I don't think there ever was a short U.S. president.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if 6 foot is a height, but there has never been like a fucking 5'5" president. That just
rest in peace, Jeremy.
Yes, that has never existed in the U.S.
You're 5'5"?
Yeah, 5'5".
It's
yeah,
amazing. People are always like, "Oh my god, he's short."
Yeah.
It's my mom's impression.
Yeah, and so it's like, so is there such thing as tall privilege? Well, of course, yeah. The medium height of an average Anglo, I think, is like 5'8" or 5'11" or something like that, somewhere in between there. And so, yeah, there is a certain quality of your actual height that plays a role in your success in careers. I think most CEOs.
Oh, all of the short ones are old.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
Like James Madison was 5'4".
Oh, was he? Yeah.
But that was in like 17. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're mostly tall.
Yeah. It's the same thing with CEOs.
They're at least 5'8" generally.
Yeah. CEOs, CFOs, COOs, whatever, they tend to be tall people. And so with that, yeah, that is going to play a role on whether people can want to promote you in those positions. And so you have to look at those shortcomings and then say, what can I do to override that? And so what you lack in height, maybe you have to gain in personality. Maybe you have to have such a big personality that people don't notice your height. And so there's these type of things that you have to do. And so it's you know.
Did you know that there was a president named Chester A. Arthur?
No, I don't know all the presidents.
Chester A. Arthur? Have you heard that before, Amanda? Sorry. I'm just looking. He was the seventh tallest president.
Oh, really?
Was Chester A. Arthur. He's the only one on this list I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
You were on a roll.
And so, yeah. I all I'm saying is that, little things like that is kind of, it's stupid when people on the right try to deny it. It's like, no, you have to at least admit that those things exist. Whether you want to call it systemic racism or you want to call it white privilege or whatever, you could label it whatever the fuck you want. But in the end of the day, that definite description, that reality, that certain qualities that you have gives you advantages and certain qualities give you disadvantages. And a lot of times race plays a role with that, and not because they don't like the melanin of your skin, but it's because that carries along with itself other ideological qualities.
Yeah.
It's like, a tall, white, conservative guy who owns a business, and he sees you walking around with gangbanger clothes and being black and sagging your pants. He's going to think in his head, this is a liberal, this is somebody who probably would steal, blah blah blah. He's gonna have all these qualities that he's imposing upon you, not because it isn't because he dislikes color of skin, but it's because the way you have presented yourself dictates to him qualities of your ideas, qualities of your behavior that he does not like. And so,
because it's interesting that because I know the point you're making. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to elaborate a thought I'm having on it. Gin and tonics are so much easier for me to drink.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm like a little bit buzzed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel heavy at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really enjoy it. It has to do with, it's not a dislike of skin color at all.
Right.
If there were a group of Like if like Germans in 1700 saw a guy walking around dressed as a French person,
Yeah.
that they would have certain biases
Of course they
towards
would,
the
yeah.
French guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. It's not just the skin color.
Right. Yeah.
Because to say that like whites can't be racist against each other is to ignore all cultural differences between white people.
Yes.
We don't like the word racist. We could say biased or whatever. But
Yeah.
like white guys from Texas are biased against white guys from Oklahoma.
California.
Oklahoma.
Or Oklahoma, right? Yes. Yeah.
Or Arkansas.
Yes. Yeah. But especially when they come from the liberal areas. And I think a lot of it is just because
You
they
think liberals are more biased?
No, I think they both are. They're both equally as biased.
No, I'm I'm just saying like
No.
Texans and Oklahomans hate each other.
Yes, but all I'm saying is that it's more so when they believe that your ideology is so different from them. Like Texans and Oklahomans probably hate each other, but I would guarantee that they hate Californians more. They would see this, white guy from California.
Oh, yes.
The Texan would hate them more because it's like everything about them is opposite of what they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Or in a perceivedly.
Now
Now that all the people from California moved to Austin. Like,
yeah, I know. That's true.
rest in peace, Texas.
Yeah.
Once I heard
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's moved to Austin, I was like, rest in peace. Like,
Yeah.
it's over.
It is, yeah.
The dream is over.
Oh, yeah. Texas is it's already changing.
It's gone.
But yeah, and so I just think I think a lot of it just has to do that they make judgments about your behavior and your beliefs, and that's what they don't like.
Yeah.
People don't give a shit about melanin of skin. People don't give a shit about the actual categories of the three main races. It isn't like you haven't come from the Caucasus Mountains, so therefore I don't like you. It's like that's not what it is.
Well, if you were literally living in the Caucasus Mountains, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's more that it's the easiest thing to overcome are those prejudgments. And I think I might have said it in the show before, but that's something that I learned being a Latino and growing up is that, many of the things, it's like if you can wipe away the judgments that they make about your beliefs, they really don't give a shit.
No.
When I was working for that photo company, R365, he said, my boss, I said, why you keep sending me to Perry County? It's just a bunch of fucking white people that don't like Latinos. And then he told me one of the most wisest things the simple guy ever said. He was like, they don't care that you're Latino. He said, you just have long hair. And the fact that you're tan makes them think that there's something about you. When you go there, just talk about NASCAR. And that's what I did. Right before the shoots, I would look online. I would read about the race the night before. And then when I go to the house, I'd be like, dude, did you watch the race last night? And they looked at me shocked. They're like, you watched NASCAR? I was like, yeah. Did you watch it? He was like, yeah, it was a good race. And they're like, you want a drink? It was like, they were happy to have me there, right?
Yeah.
And
this is what happens to me with Latinos is the second they find out they speak Spanish, they're like, oh, okay.
Yes. And then they're happy.
Yeah. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And
or like with when I started working at this medical office.
Yeah.
The exact moment that they let their guard down, all the Filipinos.
Yeah, yeah.
And Filipinos don't have as much of a guard as other cultures,
yeah.
really, especially here. But the second I was, quote unquote, one of them, is I was walking past the table they were eating at.
Yeah.
And I just leaned over and was like, hey, can I have some of that lechon? And they were like, Gah?
Yeah, yeah.
What? And then the next 2 days later, I brought Gini Sangmungo, which is another food, and they were like, "What?"
Yeah. And
they're like,
and they get happy.
I know,
and that's all it is.
Yeah.
It isn't that the Filipinos are racist. It's just that they make prejudgments on your behavior, on your beliefs, and everything.
But everyone does that,
and everybody does that exactly. And so now we deem stuff like that racist. And this is, this guy has gone showing my spiels that this is why I don't believe in the existence of racism. It isn't so
as
much
it's defined.
Yes, it isn't so much that I don't think it isn't that I don't think people right now are racist. I just don't think anybody's racist. I don't think that exists. There is nobody that exists that says because you're a certain race, I don't like you.
Yeah.
It is that because you're a certain race, they think X, Y, and Z about you, and that X, Y, and Z is why they don't like you.
Yeah.
And so the race is kind of a pointer. It's almost like clothes that you wear.
Yeah.
Is that if you walk into a job interview with a wife beater and baggy pants, the person's going to make prejudgments about you.
So actually, the counterpoint is that someone who believes that racism is contemporarily defined as a valid framework, or is a is a properly formed idea, and social observation would say that the color of your skin does inherently impart to you certain qualities, and because of that, you have, if you want to overcome cultural differences, it's based in skin color. It's not, because we all know you could take anyone of any color, put them in, you could raise them anywhere, and they would just be whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Like talk to a Peruvian Japanese person.
Yep, exactly.
They're Peruvian, but they're Asian.
Yeah.
It's really strange meeting a South American Asian person.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I know. Yeah. It's so strange.
Yeah,
because they're nothing. They're literally Latinos.
Yeah.
But they're Asian.
It's the same thing like Don Francisco. Like I tell a lot of people, he has no, Spanish blood in him. Yeah. He's a German fucking Jew who escaped Nazi Germany as a kid and raised in Chile. Yeah. And anybody that has ever watched Salvador, like Salvador Gigante is one of the most popular TV shows from Univision. And I think most people at least know it when they see it. They might not know the name, but they see it, they hear his voice and be like, oh yeah, I know about that show. And you tell them, he's
just his facial expression.
I know. He's a German Jew. It's hilarious. But everything. He's an asshole. I hate him.
Do you?
I met him. Yeah.
You met him?
Oh yeah.
When?
He visited Alaska when I was working at the Captain Cook.
Oh, and you served him, and he was an asshole.
Yeah, and he stayed there for a whole week, and so I had a lot of engagements with him. And he's very, very old-fashioned European. And so my parents talked to me about this when I was younger. They said that in South America, a lot of the Europeans, especially the ones that didn't really mix with the natives there, always they didn't find it proper to look at your face or talk to you, right? And so it is this is where the he was. So when he would order something, he would have his assistant there, and so he'd be like, and then the assistant would talk. He'd be like this, and he keeps having a conversation.
Wait, so because he wasn't ethnically mixed, he wouldn't talk to you?
No, because he thought he was better than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like a true old-fashioned European. He's like, I am better than you, so I don't need to talk to you. So same thing, like if you meet with a lot of people from Madrid. From Spain, there's the same thing. If you're South American, they just like, and that's always their gestures, like. And they're going to look at you if they keep talking to the person they're talking to. And then their assistant has to order for them. Like,
I would do that.
Yeah. I know. Fuck you, fucking dick. Yeah, I hate that bastard. But
you also had to find it funny.
I did, yes. Because he since you grew up there, he had the Latino mannerisms, that aggressive Latino way of being.
He looks Latino.
His facial
expressions look.
It does, yeah. And you see his movement and everything. And then his last name is like Schwarzenegger or whatever. Is like his real German last name. It's like, okay, man.
Mario Luis Kreuzberger Blumenfield. Mario Luis Kreuzberger Blumenfeld.
I mean, really German.
Kreuzberger. Kreuzberger Blumenfeld.
And
Mario Luis. Wonder when he was born. Is that he was born Mario?
I think so. He might have. I can't remember if the parents moved when they were pregnant.
Oh, he was born.
Or he was born. He was born in Chile. Yeah.
Mario Luis Kreuzberger Blumenfeld. That is really funny.
It is. Like with us, is the reverse, is that we have American first and middle names, and then the Spanish last.
Sábado Gigante is such a good show name.
Yeah, I know.
It's so.
Even in
Giant
Chile.
Saturday.
Yeah. But yeah, even in Chile, the Jews make the money, just the way that it is. But but yeah,
and Argentina, but
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I just I find a lot of the discussion around racism just to be profoundly stupid, because either they're saying that that people hate you because you're black, or people hate you because you're Latino, or they call them
like
brown people now. It's like, don't call me a brown person.
Brown bodies.
Yeah, so that's stupid. Just stop.
That sounds more racist.
It does. It's
Calling
like,
you Latino.
Yeah, I'm Latino, right?
Black bodies.
Yeah, black and brown people. It's like,
violence against black and brown bodies.
yes, yeah. Just call them Negroes. Call me Latino. I prefer just the older names. But anyways, I just don't think that's the case. And you could see that manifest so easily.
I think it's ridiculous because if you meet a Peruvian and they're Argentinian or something, which Argentinians are white, but let's say Colombian and a Peruvian, I wouldn't for any reason think they were the same.
I know they look
group.
different.
They look different.
Yes,
They're a different group.
They act different. Yeah.
Yeah. Like meet a Norwegian and a
Finnish
Portuguese guy.
Oh yeah, that's different.
They're not the same kind of people.
Yeah, I know. That's like really different.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, the whole categories doesn't make any sense. The whole existence of racism doesn't make any sense. And I think instilling this kind of fear into people, like they don't like you because you're skin color, it's all stupid. And at the end of the day, people just want you to relate to them.
That was there was a moment on the train. Oh yeah. There was this black girl on the train.
Yeah.
And I remember flipping out. Cuz I had never been on the I'd always been on the receiving end of like when like I speak Spanish without an accent and there people are like that. I had a moment with another ethnicity that I had.
Oh, did you?
I was like, oh my God, you're one of us.
Yeah.
Because it's happened. There's this black girl. She was big.
Yeah.
And she sang a lot. And she was
like Lizzo big? Close?
Halfway there.
Halfway
there.
Yeah.
Lizzo's massive.
Yes.
But like halfway Lizzo.
Okay,
big.
yeah.
So, which is still
that's still
it's
big.
girthy.
It is, yeah.
But
at least it's still human.
Functional, yeah. You're not bovine at that point. You're still human. But she was out cleaning the tables in the car, and I'm in the kitchen doing something, and she's the only one out there that I know of. Everybody else is upstairs. And then I just hear the from Them Bones, Alice in Chains, like dirt.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, what's going on? And then I heard her, and then she starts singing it. She starts singing the high harmony on it, and I walk out there, and I'm like, you like Alice in Chains?
Yes.
This black girl?
Yes.
She was like, hell yeah, I do. And I was like,
that's all that it takes.
It's like that's very weird.
Yes, but that's all it takes to bridge the gap.
We didn't get along before that.
Yeah.
I had no idea how to interact with her. We didn't know.
Yeah.
And then she was like singing Jerry, like, we just started singing Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Harmonies on like random, like she was singing like Sick Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one knows this song.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I'm a huge Lane Staley fan. And I was like, you're black.
Yes, that's all it takes for people for you to start liking them. But then when they call that racism, that's when I think it's stupid. It's like
that's why Alice in Chains' new frontman is black guy.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, because you know what, Lane Staley died, and like they think their last, I think the last show he ever did with them was the MTV Unplugged.
Oh, was that?
Or was it right after? So
no, I thought that was Nirvana's.
No, don't.
Yeah.
So Nirvana has its own separate. Kurt Cobain. That's the
no. I thought the last show being the Unplugged was Nirvana's thing.
Oh no, I'm talking about Lane Staley's last show with Alice in Chains was the Unplugged.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know they did the same thing.
Yeah, they did the same show.
Yeah,
it's spectacular.
Yeah.
I think the Nirvana one and the Alice. I'm not a Nirvana fan. Really.
Me either. Yeah.
I find it very annoying. But the Alice in Chains and Nirvana.
I just find them boring.
Yeah, it's very boring and sad. And
yeah,
I just want to beat him up.
Yeah.
Like when I hear he shot himself in the head. When I hear he shot himself in the head with a shotgun, I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. You're doing me a favor. I don't want to know what Kurt Cobain would be like right now.
Yes.
But
there's certain musics that give me a headache.
It's Nirvana's one.
And Nirvana's
but
one. But
Alice in Chains doesn't do that to you.
No, of course not. No.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is that when it's too, I don't know how to explain it. When there isn't a variety of sound, if that makes sense. Like
It just all sounds the same.
I call it like monotone. It's from beginning to the end of the song. It's that same kind of thing. There isn't no variety.
Well,
that
there's no dynamics.
And those physically gives me a headache. So
Seriously, it's on Spotify. You should listen to the Alice in Chains Unplugged. It's extremely good.
I didn't know they made one.
There's a moment in it where so I think they had to. So this was when Lane Staley's heroin addiction was really bad.
Yeah,
he was non-functioning.
Yeah,
pretty much. And I think he was smacked out on stage
during it. Yeah.
Or he was recently.
Yeah.
Or there's something. He was in a diminished state.
Yeah.
When they were recording, but he kept messing lyrics up. And I think Sludge Factory, which is the third song off of their self-titled album, the green album with the dog on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my favorite one. It's a hot take. Not generally people's favorites. But they're doing the riff, and he sings it, and then he sings the wrong lyric, and then at the end of it he just goes "fuck," and the whole song stops, and he looks over at Jerry. Jerry's like. He's like, we're starting over. They restarted 2 or 3 songs.
Oh wow!
Because he kept forgetting lyrics.
Because he was so.
Yeah, he was so smacked. He was gone.
Yeah.
But there's one where he, I think it was "Killer Is Me" is a weird, obscure one they played at the end of that. But there's a moment where they say it's their last song or whatever, and the whole crowd is cheering, and this guy goes, "Hey, fuck you!" Because he's because he wants them to play more music, and then Staley goes he reacts to it, and they just play another song.
Oh, do they?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, their new frontman is a black guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it doesn't do the same thing for me because I'm a Lane Staley fan.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's good. He
Yeah.
does the music justice. It's a black guy with an afro.
Is it really?
Yes.
Nice.
Also, Soundgarden's lead guitarist is a Pakistani guy.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Soundgarden is still.
No, he killed himself.
Yeah, I know he did.
Chris Cornell. No,
I know.
I'm just saying.
I thought you meant the new lead singer.
No, the lead guitarist.
Right.
Was a Pakistani guy.
Yeah.
His name's Kim Thale.
Yeah.
He's just a Pakistani dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a Pakistani guy grows up in Seattle, he's gonna make
just
grunge.
gonna look like that. Yeah.
He's gonna make grunge.
And that's when they start accepting you and shit. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I don't like about the whole the leftist ideas of racism. But then I don't.
They're the racial essentialists.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then that's what I don't like about the rights is that
they say there's no bias at all.
Yeah, it's no. That's
the thing is the right can only play the game of the left. They don't know. They don't like how when people appeal to capitalism and stuff.
Yeah.
It's you're just operating. I mean, capitalism is a communist concept.
Exactly. Yeah.
The communists coined the word in the 1850s.
Yeah.
You're just playing their game when you appeal to it.
Yeah.
I refuse to talk about it.
Yeah.
And like in Biden in his State of the Union, he's like capitalism, but I'm like, you're just a communist talking.
Yes. Yeah.
If Ben Shapiro talks about capitalism, it's you're talking like a communist.
Yeah.
You're just.
I know he is. Yeah. No.
You're just saying You're just saying that what the communists criticized you think is good.
Yes.
You're just playing their game.
Yeah. You're using their categories, and by using the categories,
stupid.
you're accepting the game.
The categories are as essentially defined by the communists.
Yeah.
Is so what? It's capitalism refers to the production and accumulation of wealth over a certain period of time in a population or something. So it's so the categories are communism / socialism.
Yeah.
And every other economic system that has ever existed on the planet exists now or could ever exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just what isn't communism and socialism.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think that's wrong. So if you're like, oh, I like capitalism, it's that's vague. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I agree with that. Yeah. I agree that that's why both left and right in the end, I find them grotesquely wrong, and it's because they're
the left is wrong and the right accepted the term.
Yes,
of the left.
and the right accepts that.
Yeah.
It's no, we can't continuously talking about the existence of racism or capitalism or any of these things, or even the existence of gender. People talk about gender as but from the beginning, you saw the separation. What is your gender? Your gender is, male or female, and that's how it started out. But that was a separate grammatical category of your sex. And so all of that shit, the beginning point is what's stupid, but then the response, the reaction to it is equally as stupid. I think a more proper response would just be like, well, it doesn't exist. Rather than trying to defend the ethos and saying that there are no prejudices, there are no, I guess, privileges that people share. It's like, that's just dumb, because
is that a very American way
having
of
that,
thinking?
I think, definitely, yeah. I think they've influenced much of the West now anyways, so it's hard to say that's only American anymore. But originally, it definitely is. And I think much of the West...
it comes from that kind of dichotomous...
Right, yeah.
Was ours the first two-party system?
Probably. I don't know.
One of them.
Yeah.
Because
we have sustained it that way.
The default to two-party system is people, make practical...
Yeah.
They make practical arguments as to why a two-party system is bad, and it's like, because it just doesn't allow for enough choice.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, I think the way that most people discuss choice now is brain dead anyway. So we've said many times. So it's like, that's not a proper argument, but it's like the two-party system essentially, it frames any political issue as purely dichotomous.
Yes, yeah.
Because you have one side and the other, and there's no room. People talk about like nuance, and like I find it's people have been discussing nuance for decades.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it used anymore. It's accomplished nothing. Stop saying nuance. Come up with another word to use for a while.
Well, because it's a French word, and I think the French just since they weren't dichotomous, nuance simply refers to, I guess, specific distinctions between things. And that's all that really
yes,
means.
but when people talk about nuance, it's it's platitudinous.
That's not what they mean by it. Yeah.
Well, they mean that, but they just don't know what they mean. It doesn't, like when Joe Rogan talks about nuance.
Yeah.
He just says the same phrase about nuance over and over. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I would prefer people stop talking about nuance and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
What I mean is that I don't even think they mean what the original definition is. Not even Joe Rogan, because the original definition would be...
Because nuance would be not purely left or right.
Not only that, but it would be that you are actually articulating things more accurately.
Yeah.
And so a nuance simply means that if you go back to the discussion of God, for you to say God exists, nuance would be, well, yes, but what does that mean?
What do you mean by exist?
Yeah, what do you mean by
exist? And why
exist?
do I think saying God exists is actually the wrong word?
While I think the way people use nuance now means that there is an unexplainable gray area
between the parties.
It's like, that's not what nuance means. Yeah. It actually means that you are beginning to use language to articulate more accurately rather than just having...
Yeah, nuance refers to existing in a gray area between Republican and Democrat.
Yeah, that's what it means now, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they mean when they say it.
Yeah, and that's what's stupid about it. It's like, well, then you're not really saying anything. It's like, let's get more specific, not more gray. We can't be getting more vague. And so now when they view nuance, they think that it's getting more vague and that you can't really pinpoint what it is.
Yeah, because if I were to say nuance to you, I would know what you mean. But when I say, I never want to hear anyone say, I don't want to hear anyone else say nuance ever.
Yes, yeah.
Because they generally don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, they don't. Yeah. But yeah, I think a large part of it just because we don't allow for disagreement. I guess we don't allow for essential disagreement. Everything is always cosmetic. It isn't as if we can. When I tell people I don't think there exists racism, many times it's like they can't even fathom what I mean by that.
No.
They're like, yeah, but what do you mean? There's the KKK. I was like, yeah, I don't think the KKK is racist. I don't think there ever was a moment in history where there were people that cared about the melanin of people's skin, or whether they
unless it was like literally you thought that God, they were like I don't know if this is true or not, but like to care about the melanin in someone's skin, you'd essentially have to. The skin itself had a quality, and you would hunt them for, like,
Yes, maybe.
Like, how, like, Africans hunt albinos?
Yes,
like
that might be the closest thing to, like, racism we could think of.
But it's nothing to do with their race. It's just their because melanin itself is not race.
Right, yeah.
You can have a person from Madagascar.
But anything like the fact that your skull shape is shaped the way that it is like, that's not what they care about. Like, everything that's for forensics in terms of race has to do with DNA, Has to do with melanin. It has to do with skull bone structure, muscle mass. Nobody actually hates somebody because of that. They're not looking at these black people like they're too dark, they have too much muscles, and their heads are too big. It is not as if therefore I hate you. It's because they.
Well, it's once you caricature them in art, those are the things that are going to be apparent.
Yeah, but they're just
because you're just caricaturizing the aesthetic of the person.
Yes,
you're
right.
Not,
and so even when you take the Mormons didn't hate blacks because of those qualities. They hated them because they believed that they were the descendants of Cain, right? Yeah. And so that is the reason why. And so
wait, they allowed the descendants of Cain into their religion?
Now I think in the 70s they changed that. 70s,
1972 or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
They don't drink coffee.
Yes.
Hot beverages, I think, is what it is.
No, I think it's caffeine.
Can we have a Mormon on?
That
would be a bloodbath. I have a friend who's like an expert in Mormonism.
Really?
We could have on.
I'm not an expert in it, so I would like to know.
They
more.
believe that Christ. Mm-hmm. I almost had a Protestant moment. Christ, I'm not his friend. We're not on the first name basis. I've always felt that was weird when people are like, "Yo, Jesus," let me. I'm like, don't. Yeah. You don't know him. Yeah. Why are you using his first name like that?
Jesus.
It's Mr. Christ.
Okay. Mr. Christ.
That Christ and Satan were brothers.
Right, I know that. That the God has Elohim, and Elohim had the celestial orgies that produced all these planets and everything.
So, but they're also polytheists.
Yes.
Because Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Holy Mother are all separate deities.
Yes, yeah.
That exist independently.
Yeah.
That during the 3 days that Christ was dead, he came to the Americas and evangelized to the natives.
Yes. That the natives were like the true descendants of the Jews or something. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
That the men inherit their own planets when they die.
Certain men, the elect, and so you have
the elect inherit their own planets. So that's why they have so many wives and children to populate the planets after they die. Yeah.
Because they're more symbolic of Elohim, since Elohim had celestial orgies, and if you are one of the elect,
that's so disturbing.
They're weird.
I think Protestantism is less disturbing, but like, it's absurd. But like, it's.
I think that
it's less weird.
The moment you start going to Mormonism, that's when it starts getting crazier. Which is a sect of Protestantism. I mean, it is. It
is essentially. Yes, there's no way you can say it's not.
Yes, it's a derivation of the Protestant
by Christian movement. You mean Protestant and Catholic, you can include Mormons.
Yes, yeah.
So
they're just as wacky.
Yeah, I remember I ran into that issue on the train. This is weird, like on the train.
Yeah.
When I spent the summer on the train, there were tons of Mormons, and I just kept asking them questions.
Yeah.
And it was like I had a hard time saying, when they would say they're Christian, I'd be like, "You're not," but I don't know why you're not.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the boundaries are, but I know that's not right. It's my woman's intuition.
Yeah.
Have I talked to you about that?
No. Oh, the woman's intuition.
No, I think I have as good an intuition socially as women do.
Yes, yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because that's not normal. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure.
Do you see that in me, Amanda? My social intuition? It's weird.
Yeah.
Because when I hear like women talk about how they can just tell what people are, like you just talk, a woman can talk to you for 10 minutes and know everything about you. Mm-hmm. I do the same thing.
In that sense, I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't take much long for me to know it, but I think I've been analyzing human behavior for so long.
So I wonder if I've done the same thing.
Yeah,
because I'm not a woman.
Because ever since I was a kid, I think we as men approach it a little bit differently. Is that we take in the information, and if we find it interesting, we begin to analyze their behavior, and then you just get to really begin to very quickly then with minor observations know the qualities of the person, how they really are, what they believe, and all that stuff. But yeah, that's definitely, even like regions where they come from. It just becomes it's just more for us. It's more of an observation thing. Where I think with the woman is more of a feeling.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I experience it as a different than a feeling, but I wonder if it's just because it's so
innate in your
innate. Yeah.
Because like normally when they say the woman's intuition is that they could sense, for example, that their child is choking on something even if they're not in the house. Like there's actual things like that has happened, and then the woman like races home, and then the kid is actually choking, and it's like they just sensed it, and then that's what they mean by woman intuition. Well, I think what you're describing is a quick analysis, and the quick analysis.
I'm just really good at analyzing things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick analysis.
Okay.
I know you, and that's
it's weird.
Yes. No, women get creepy, like when you see it like an actual woman's intuition, it gets even heightened when they become mothers. It's eerie. It's like they're aware of things that they ought not to be aware of.
They ought not to be aware
Yes.
of. Okay.
Even if they're not good at what we're doing, like being able to analyze people or understand whether they're
podcasting.
Yes. But in terms of the intuition, it's quite fantastical.
I hate I've always had a smoker laugh.
Oh yeah.
Even when I was a child.
Yeah.
Spectacular wheeze.
What age did you smoke the heaviest?
Smoke?
Yeah.
Literally?
Like when you were doing it
2020.
2020 was the heaviest smoking year.
I don't know if I did it every day.
Was it the closest to being every day? At least every week?
Oh, it was every other day at least.
Okay, yeah.
I never smoked like multiple times a day.
Oh, okay, just once.
So the one thing that bothers me about the smoking lobby is they tell you, well, there's no real difference in the damage done to the lungs if you smoke once a day or like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, yeah, of course, if you start doing more.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any
damage.
sense. Like
Yeah.
once a day is as bad as it ever gets. I'm like, okay, I'll smoke 30. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, whatever. No, nicotine is great, but I just worry about my singing voice.
Oh, have you stopped or are you still doing it?
I vape sometimes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why do you vape?
Because I'm addicted to nicotine and I can't stop.
Just smoke a cigarette.
I know.
Vaping is so
No,
good.
I know. I bought a pack of American Spirits.
Okay,
I was
thanks,
feeling
yeah.
too homosexual.
I mean, like,
feeling
if you're
too
going to
gay.
do one, just do it right.
Do the right one.
Yeah, just...
If you're going to kill yourself, do it in style.
When I see people vaping, I'm just like, I don't get it.
I don't either.
It gives you that nicotine hit. I get that part.
It's a different thing.
Is it still?
Mm-hmm. So how do I... Because I know what I mean, I could imagine it.
Yeah.
So imagine the feeling of being intoxicated.
Yeah.
But instead of it being in your chest and when you're like not drunk but like you're like buzzed and tipsy and like feeling it. It's like everywhere. Like your hands feel different, your arms feel looser.
Yeah.
It's in your chest, your head. Your pressure in your head feels different. You feel warm, like it's just bodily.
Yeah.
Vaping, it's almost as if with a nicotine, like when you're smoking a cigarette and you get the hit, it's like your breaths are deeper. They're shorter. You're like stimulant buzzed and you're like lightheaded and like this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it's like heavy.
Yeah.
Like you feel it. Mm-hmm. But then when I vape, I don't know if it feels like that same sensation layered on. It's not, it feels like, I don't even, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And it feels synthetic. Whereas if you're just smoking a leaf, it's a different thing.
So what do you put in the vapes? Do you put the leaves?
Just juice. No, it's juice.
It's just juice.
I have to teach Jeremy how to vape.
So it's all
it's juice.
Synthetic.
Well, yeah, it's like a solution you put in a little pod or a thing, and then it goes through these coils that vaporize it.
Oh.
It is
so
synthetic,
they just-
especially
they just
salt,
infu-
nicotine.
They
Yeah,
just
it's-
infuse that with nicotine and stuff.
mhm. Yeah, and
That's
it's yeah, and I smoked a cigarette with one of my Filipino
Yeah.
coworker ladies. She goes out a couple times a day to like smoke a cigarette in her car.
Yeah.
And I was walking out to grab my temporary ID to make a copy of it for work. And I walked up to her and I was like, give me a cigarette?
yeah.
Because I'd been vaping for months and I just had a cigarette for like 2 months. And then it was like a Marb like 100 light or something.
Yeah. So
Or
what
it was a black, and I just after like 2 or 3 drags, I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
you felt
this
it,
is
yes.
this is a different thing.
Yeah.
So it's like I missed it.
So why do they say it is better to vape health-wise than it is?
They have no idea. They don't know that.
They don't know.
It's
that.
so recent. There's no way to know.
It's just propaganda.
People have been smoking cigarettes for a couple hundred years
Yeah.
with filters. I don't know how long it's been. It's at least the late 1800s, I think.
Yeah.
There's no way to know. You're inhaling like synthetic fruit flavored
know, that's
juice
what I mean,
into your
yeah.
lungs.
That's weird to me.
Like a bunch of my relatives smoked into their like late 90s.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't smoke heavily, so like
I've spoken to a few, Josh being one of them, but other people as well that are of the Gen Z. And what's weird about them is that they view smoking as trashy, but vaping as not trashy.
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know, me either. I don't really get that, but yeah, they the way that they just view it is like if you're smoking a cigarettes, it's like you're kind of a trashy person.
Well, when I see someone,
only less
the difference would be
low-class people.
you are.
It's like cigarette smokers. Like the way they worded me is like cigarette smokers shop at Walmart, and like vapors normally go to places like Target.
That doesn't mean anything.
It's weird. Yeah.
I wish I was there when he said that.
Yeah.
Like, what
It's
are you
weird.
talking about?
I don't get it either. Because
That
it's
doesn't
it's
make
like,
any sense.
because my perception is people who vape are
So
kind
here,
of
so
gay.
you know the simulacra thing. Who was the guy that did that?
I don't know
The simulacra thing.
I don't know what that is.
You don't really?
Yeah.
I can't explain it well enough.
Oh, okay.
I can try. See, you have a,
Simulacra.
you have so a simulacra of a thing is, or let me look it up. This is interesting. You've literally never heard this. I'm shocked.
I never heard this word. At least maybe I heard of what it is, but I'm not.
It's
Is it recent?
simulacra. Or simulacrum. The word was first recorded in the English language in the 16th century.
Wow.
Literary critic Frederick Jameson. So I want to see if I can. Is stages? Can I get stages of simulacrum? It's a. I want to see if I can find.
Yeah.
It's a stage of it's stages of abstraction. Essentially, so you have a strawberry, and then you have a candy flavored with strawberries or jam.
Yeah.
So you have strawberry, and then there's jam with strawberries, which concentrates the nature of strawberries or whatever and certain features of it. And then
You have a Jolly Rancher.
or a candy,
Yeah.
which synthesizes the flavor experience of the jam into a candy, and then that would be a slushy or like into a whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And eventually the thing that you end up with does not resemble
Right.
the
yeah,
original thing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of distillations of certain essences over time
Yeah.
into, it's sort of like how social media is like a simulacrum of
Conversation.
social interaction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it distills certain parts of social interaction while
Right, yeah.
omitting others, and it just becomes, we would say that interacting on social media is in itself a full social interaction, but if you have one in real life, you can't really, it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's just, there's not a lot about the nature of an actual face-to-face conversation present in interaction on Twitter, but like it's when I vape, it just feels like that for It's like it's like a weird multiple layers removed reproduction of what it's like to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
And the cigarette is just way better.
Yes,
but it also smells because it's fire.
Right. Yeah,
so it's harder to, people don't get, like the like 70-year-old, the like smoker lung smell where it doesn't smell like cigarettes, but their breath it's smoker breath, but it doesn't smell, it's not cigarette breath.
Yeah.
But
it's the years of smoking that gets just in.
Sort of like how a person who drinks a lot all the time has that like sweet fruity smell about them. Yeah,
or like people from India really do just smell like curry, but it's like what their body absorbed that.
Yeah,
and so
well, spices. They eat spices in such heavy concentration.
Yeah, that
they smell different.
They do, yes.
Like people, but like that's not even to be comedic. Like they just
smell.
Not,
and Anglos
and
have
that tells
too. Yeah, like if I go to a house that is heavily populated with Anglos, and they don't I know you do, but a lot of Anglos do not spice their foods, right? A lot of times they just smell like meat.
Yeah, like which is rotting flesh. Yeah.
Yes, that's how they smell like to me. Black people have a certain smell to them, and Latinos do.
Black people definitely have a smell.
Yeah,
it's I don't want to say greasy. It's like
it's like a greasy and semi-fruity, almost.
Well, it's because hair products for black people have to be much higher grade because their hair is much more rigid.
Yeah.
But yeah, like vaping and smoking are totally different things.
Yes.
And vaping is far inferior, but it doesn't smell.
Right.
Like I could vape outside and come in and you would have no idea.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't hang.
Or even in here, like
2 seconds later, you wouldn't smell it.
Yeah, because I know like the what's his name, Wesley, and the other guy, they do it in here.
Yeah,
and it's just like
it doesn't. I mean, if they were doing it, if they blew it at you, you could smell it.
To me, it just looks so. It's like this big device. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like I would have never thought me, out of all people, would be like, just fucking smoke.
So what do you respect about cigarettes better?
For one thing, they're organic. They're just.
They can be.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah, but they're just things that
American spirits are pretty. It's just tobacco and.
Yeah, but no matter which one of them, it's.
I'm gonna smoke a cigar tomorrow.
It's burning leaves, right?
Yeah.
That you're.
And paper and stuff.
Yeah, paper.
Whatever.
And so that's to me just. The thing about the whole vaping thing, it's as if you want to smoke, but you're not doing it.
Yeah,
it's like, just fucking do it.
It is a weird analog of like real social interaction, like social media social interaction.
Right, yeah. It's like if you're going to do it, just do it then. Yeah. Just don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
Don't put the fucking condom on. It's like you're gonna fuck, just fuck.
Make a baby, come on.
Yeah, you're gonna go to an orgy, then get AIDS.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just just do it,
Foucault style.
Yeah, just do Foucault style.
Yeah.
I have much more respect for Foucault than all these other people. I was like,
because he lived it. Yeah,
just live it, man. Shit, you're gonna do something that's a bit degenerate. Just go all out, do it. Don't just watch porn and masturbate. Fuck.
So smelling like you smoked a cigarette is the equivalent of catching AIDS at an orgy.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I don't respect these masturbators.
So vaping is for the uncommitted.
Yeah, they're uncommitted.
I think everybody knows that.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. It's hard for me to articulate right now, but I guess it's just my immediate reaction.
I think you're articulating it well.
Or yeah.
I think you're articulating your immediate experience of it.
Yeah.
Because I think it mirrors everybody else's.
Yeah.
I think this is actually something where you are reflecting the gut reaction of everybody else.
Yeah.
Once. And you're actually not in conflict with what anybody else thinks.
I'm just it's immediate for me. And it happens with a lot of the things that I find just, I guess, people doing now. And why many times I joke around that once I get really old, I'm probably just going to be a grouchy old man. It's because it all just bothers me. Mm-hmm. It's like, you want to have a conversation, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't get this, I'm just going to send this out and see if they're going to respond. It's like, I got something to say to somebody. I tell them.
Yeah.
I find them. I call them. or I look at their face
Yeah.
and be like, fuck you, you know, just do it.
This is literally why I don't make you wear monitors for recording.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because I hear when I have these both
Yeah.
on, I hear your voice right here,
Mm.
and I don't. I think that you would concentrate on that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And
So I just have to tell you to talk into your mic sometimes. But
yeah. But yeah, it's just so yeah, it's the same thing with all that stuff. It's like
Yeah.
everybody wants the easy way out. Everybody just doesn't want to do it.
mm-hmm.
It's like they don't want to fuck anymore. They just want to watch porn and fuck their hand. It's like, just fuck. You want to sin. You want to do these bad things, obviously, because these people watch porn.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
This last week,
Like I find it
where like
worse.
it doesn't make sense to me that everybody just fucking each other all the time would be better than everybody masturbating.
Yes, exactly.
Because at least everybody else is getting something out of
Yes,
it.
yeah. The masturbation to me is like the most deprived sexual behavior you could have. The most depraved one. The anything.
You
Like
could
that's probably
fuck a
gonna piss
dog
them. Yes.
over masturbating.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say fucking a dog is less depraved.
Amanda's eyebrow.
The entire idea
Okay,
of
okay.
self-love. It's weird.
Self-lust.
Yeah, that's what it is in a
Yeah,
way, right?
yeah.
I just
Not
use that word
self-
because that's what they say.
But self-lust
Yes.
is like you're literally...
It's weird. It's like, fuck you, man. You're weird. Let me kick you on the dirt and kick you in the face and find you a go-to fuck or something. Do something. Actualize something in the world.
Yeah.
Not just this perversion of reality. And that's what it seems like it all is. Like masturbation, vaping, all these things. It's a perversion of reality. And we need to act in the world.
Well, I mean, it's a perversion, but it's like a distillation of a certain part of reality to its most
perverted way.
Well, its most pure, just that part of the essence of reality distilled to its most pure form without any of the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why.
So the vaping thing is like, well, you're getting nicotine.
Yes.
It's like, well, there's actually part about the literally inhaling smoke from a fire that enhances the feeling of
it
that.
is, yes.
And
But-
I'm not
but
willing to say
I-
it kills you faster, but like it's like
I guess the way I view that is that it isn't so much that you are actually distilling its essence. You're taking an accidental quality and calling that accidental quality its essence.
Okay. So I'm just using the wrong word. No,
Yeah.
one of the
Qualities, yeah.
either essential or accidental qualities or whatever.
Because that's what masturbation is. It's like
Here's
sex
a
is
question.
not ejaculation. That is a quality of it. But when you ejaculate, you're not. That isn't the end of sex. Sex is all of that.
Yeah.
Sex is the touch of the other person, the warmth of their body, the ejaculation in there, the penetration, the production of children, or at least the potential of that.
Yeah.
All those things are sex. And so when you try to synthesize and say, no, sex is just ejaculation, and so then you watch porn and then you ejaculate, you're taking an accidental quality.
I wouldn't say. I think most people would say it's not sex. Most people that I respect,
Yeah. Okay.
that do masturbate or don't care, would say it's not sex. I think they would just admit that freely. I think there's a lot of people who would say that it is sex.
Yeah.
I think those are, like crazy tranny person would say it's yeah. There's not much more about the way that you view reality that I respect. There's a lot of people who would say they know it's not sex.
Right, but I guess they find the ejaculation good enough.
Yeah, they find it's justified somehow, or it's not as
right. So even if they're not going to call it that, it's like they still take that one quality and say, this is what I find the most important.
Yeah.
Because if not, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So since they find that the most important, and then the ejaculation through masturbation is what and so it's like all I'm saying is that just stop that, find somebody, and fuck them. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Find it. Okay, you fuck them. You ejaculate in them. Okay, great. Now at least you've done something.
Yeah.
While the other one's like you're in this perpetual state of just quasi reality. It's like I'm picking and choosing this one part. I'm just doing that. It's like no, just do something in the world.
Yeah.
You want nicotine? Smoke a cigarette. You want to eat meat? Get fucking steak or
You can smoke
whatever.
a cigar too, but
Smoke a cigar, right? Yeah. Yes, which
that's not degenerate because you're tasting it.
exactly. Yeah, I have no problem with cigars and pipes. I think those things are.
Because you just taste them.
Yeah, it's.
Oh man, I remember the first few times I was smoking cigars.
Yeah.
I haven't been because it's been cold outside. I'll start again when it's, summer and stuff. But you inhale a cigar,
Yeah.
you are immediately met with what it means to private the nature of the lungs.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, it is horrible. It's you.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to smoke a cigar anymore. You're gonna go vomit.
So you've done that before? You've inhaled it?
Yeah, on accident.
Yeah.
Because I'll go between cigars and cigarettes or whatever. Cigarettes are like
Yeah.
cigarettes, and then I'm like, I'm gonna smoke a cigar, and then just I'm not thinking. I'm texting somebody or I'm doing something, and I go, and I like inhale for a second.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and it's like
Yeah. I guess if you're used to doing
yes,
it, it would just be easy.
because they don't. I mean, they're both rods you put in your mouth. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They're obviously not dicks.
I honestly
so.
think that I'm unable to.
Smoke a cigar or
Like inhale.
I thought it'd be cute to do a bit where we both inhale helium out of balloons and do the voice. And Jeremy's like, I literally can't. And I was like, don't talk anymore about it. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like I can't even do the inhaler.
We should have Joe and I do it.
Yeah.
We should have Joe in a couple months or something.
Yeah,
we can have Joe on again and we can do the helium thing.
Yeah. We have another crazy episode.
We have to give that one a break.
Yeah.
That one's we got to be stressed. And then,
But if we do bring him on, we have to talk about the AIDS baby.
Okay. We can explain what that means when Joe comes on.
Yeah.
And he's going to be really upset that you're making fun of her. Okay.
That is such a fucked up life.
I know. Anyway,
Yeah.
the AIDS baby, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I like having the computer here better anyway.
Yeah, then you're not looking off to the side too much.
Well, yeah, and and it's too far away for me to be like on it.
Yeah. That's good.
I had a thought. I don't remember what it was.
I've never heard your take on.
I'm so excited for it. This is a new thing. Okay.
Yeah, it isn't that.
We have very few new things.
It's not that interesting actually.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But I want to know your take on 80s hair metal bands.
I'm so excited, Jay. I know you're listening. And hair metal exists. It's one of his weird hills he dies on. Is that hair metal's not real? It's like, no, it is real. Hair metal refers to an aesthetic of a certain generation of metal musicians.
Yes.
It doesn't refer to necessarily a sound. Necessarily.
Right, yeah.
It requires there was a certain...
But there was a correlation.
Yes, there's a demographic of musicians of varying style to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Who adopted the long hair, glam metal kind of look.
Yeah.
To say that that's not real is a stupid thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave it at that. You're asking me what I think of hair metal.
Yeah.
I find it kind of annoying. Generally.
Yeah.
Define hair metal. Who are you talking about?
I guess there's a lot of them. There's like Twisted Sister.
That's literally who I was talking. Yeah. They were in a Pee Wee Herman movie, weren't they?
Were they really?
Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
Probably.
Is like late Ozzy Osbourne like hair metal?
No, that's still a very 70s sound.
I don't know if No More Tears was not a 70s sound. We're about to start discussing music. So Amanda has to moderate. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
You know what's
that
really
album.
funny?
Yeah.
This actually looped back. Mike Inez
became
the bassist for Alice in Chains after Dirt. He was Ozzy Osbourne's
was he?
bassist.
Yeah.
He that bass line. Yeah, that's him. Anyway.
Because I do think in the 80s there still was that continuation of genre. Because I would say like what are, because I'm just trying to say in general.
It's so weird that you and I were both thinking about Twisted Sister of all.
I think they are like the epitome of what
Poison.
Poison is another one I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we kind of know their sound. They're normally fun. They're just about like rock, chicks, asses, drugs. Yeah. But they didn't have any like agendas. So like the 60s and 70s, the counterculture had certain things to say about the world.
A lot of them did.
Yeah. The 80s metal bands just didn't. They were just about
Well, that's what the 90s did, is they had an agenda again.
And then the 90s had agenda.
Yeah.
And I think that still exists subculturally through the 80s. I'm not denying that. And so
Yeah.
and so you could see that still span there, because I wouldn't see you say Metallica.
Well, the
was in
80s rock was much more nihilistic than
It was, yeah.
than 70s.
But then there was a
The
subcategory.
rock of the 80s had much less to aspire to.
It did, yes, yeah.
Because what the 70s was aspiring to never manifested. But
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
whatever.
But then there was this point in which it was just like they just almost didn't give a fuck anymore, and they were just rocking.
Yeah. They distilled the fun part out of.
Exactly,
You know.
and that's normally what I think of hair metal bands. Is that
Yeah.
sound?
It's the
It's the
essence of the
aesthetics.
yeah.
It's all of that. Even going up to Guns N' Roses, there were at least the early ones was still
Okay.
that metal.
Do you know what young Axl Rose looks like, Amanda? He's really hot.
Of course, it was Axl Rose.
Young
Yes.
Axl Rose
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like gorgeous.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That girls loved him.
they were all gorgeous.
Yes. That's the thing about the hair metal
I
bands.
see him and I get uncomfortable. I'm like, I really hate Axl Rose.
Do you?
But when I
Why?
see young,
Yeah.
he's just a douchebag. But when
Oh,
I
yeah.
see young Axl Rose, I'm like, he might get a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't super care about hair metal.
Oh, you don't?
I
Yeah.
don't listen to it really.
Yeah.
Grunge has a really interesting relationship with the 80s metal and stuff, and like,
Right. Yeah.
that's my thing.
I know,
As far
yeah.
as rock music goes,
Because I heard you comment on them a lot. I heard you comment some stuff on the 70s, but you always skip that 80s metal thing. And so I never really understood like whether you have any take, or it's just like whatever, you don't. But I always wonder what you think.
So I think that
Def Leppard, I think, is another one that's similar to
the
that.
one-armed drummer, he's really good for having one arm. I'll give it to him. Like impressively good for having one arm. But there's so what was the is Led Zeppelin's last album In Through the Outdoor?
I don't know.
I have to look it up now. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to talk and look it
It's
up.
like David Lee Roth, and all of those hair metal people.
Who is David Lee Roth from?
He was from what's that?
We're really, really not doing David Lee Roth. It wasn't Eddie
Van Halen. Yeah,
Van Halen. It was Van Halen.
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Van Halen. Okay.
Yeah, Van Halen. Like all those metal bands, and because there's a still group of people that love it.
So here as a I don't know if people actually know this. I mean, my friends know it, but like I started playing guitar when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
I played guitar for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
If I am not doing anything at my house, I'm sitting down with a bass or a guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
I've really liked playing bass. I think I like it better than guitar, which is a weird shock to find in my mid 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way that rock, the guitarists of the 80s furthered the art of guitar that I don't care for as much. That it just doesn't matter to me as much.
Yeah.
So as far as the history of guitar, as far as I understand it, really you didn't have guitar as a solo instrument until the late 40s and early 50s.
Okay.
It was always a rhythm instrument. You know, like you know Django Reinhardt? Really?
Django Reinhardt? No.
Can I okay, so really quickly, I'm gonna. I don't know how much of the audience knows this because everybody's an amateur guitarist. If you're under 30 years old, you're an amateur guitarist.
Yeah.
But Django Reinhardt was the guy that he essentially invented gypsy jazz. You know what that is? This style of music. So minor swing is the kind of the. So that thing. This.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah, it's very extremely French. Except
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He was one of the kind of the first solo guitar players. Guitar as we know it didn't exist until like the 1920s.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a very recent instrument as far as we know it. And then in like big band and like jazz, he was doing stuff in the 20s and 30s. I think that was recorded in like 1934, 35 or something, which is insanely ahead of its time. What's really interesting
like
about
French
Django,
cafes and stuff,
yes, but like Django Reinhardt, he was a burn victim when he was a kid. So if you watch him, his ring finger and his pinky are fused.
Oh, really?
So everything he did was with 2 fingers, which makes me feel like I need to just quit.
That's amazing. Yeah.
He's like running like scales with 2 fingers.
Damn.
I want to kill myself when I think about it. But I don't remember. It was Benny Goodman was a big band director. I believe it was his guitarist. I don't remember his name. I can see the guitar that he played.
Yeah. And
I don't remember his name. Because blues guitarists were a big deal, but blues was like a thing where you would you'd have a singer and then a guitar, and you would just record room recordings of like Robert Johnson was essentially just him and his guitar, Muddy Waters or whatever. But the guitar as a solo instrument, as you hear in like maybe like a Led Zeppelin album or something, wasn't really a thing until the 60s, mid to late 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, the Beatles did some to pioneer that with like George Harrison and stuff. I don't want to give them much credit, but like the guitar was a rhythm instrument,
right?
Because pickup technology was such that it really was just kind of a thing that had to project on its own accord.
Yeah.
So it was just like a rhythm thing. But like through the 60s, like some of the 50s, I mean, the Stratocaster came out.
60s, 70s, and
like
80s.
The 50s, like the Stratocaster came out in like 1954.
Yeah.
Telecaster, like whatever, which I don't expect you to know what that is. But the listener, maybe I'm just explaining some expertise to the listener, and I'm appealing to authority and my own knowledge.
Yeah.
To the listener, so they know what I know what I'm talking about. So like, I don't know how much like Buddy Holly you listen to or stuff like that, but he, like solos were like dun 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 dun. They were really super simple and like whatever, and like that was kind of the the birth of the electric guitar solo is kind of in the 50s and like rockabilly music and stuff. But like, I'm a huge Led Zeppelin lover, but I don't care for the Rolling Stones. Like I'm annoyingly hyper specific in my tastes for whatever. So it's hard to say hair metal and like me to have a specific opinion about a genre of music, because like I hate half of any genre I listen to.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But
at least are there any hair metal bands that you do care for? No. Okay.
I mean, not that I've ever listened to it in seriousness, but the thing I don't like about 80s rock as much as because you and I think on the show we've talked about how 80s pop music is the pinnacle of pop music.
Right. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Like, and I don't know how long ago. That would have been a year ago or something.
Probably. Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Last summer, maybe. We talked about this, so I can probably go into it again. Something about 80s pop music. And I'm going to tie this all together. So I'm sorry if I'm kind of like adding detail and just tie it again, tie it in later. But something about 80s music, when like Yellow Magic Orchestra or something, when I think BGM by Yellow Magic Orchestra was the first album to ever use a Roland T808, which is like the first drum machine. Because the 80s was big for like programmed drums instead of a drummer or whatever. That they were the Yellow Magic Orchestra was the first. The BGM was the first album to ever use the most ubiquitous drum machine of the 1980s. After that, a couple years, every single album had an 808 on it.
Yeah.
But something about sampling technology, sequencing, drum machines, and just the ability to program computers to play sounds opened up and you open up the opportunity to manifest something similar to what like Bach or like Beethoven or like composers of the Romantic era, the Classical era, the Baroque era, or whatever. They had access to full orchestras of musicians.
Yeah.
That wasn't present for musicians of the 60s and 70s or whatever.
Right.
It gave the opportunity to people with that same level of skill access to
that kind of sound,
to that composition. And that's why string compositions became like synthesized string compositions.
Right, yeah.
Like New Order is
Yeah.
a band I really enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
Or like When in Rome or Dead or Alive or like whatever.
Right,
They were
yeah.
doing things compositionally on par with people 100 years before them.
Right, yeah.
That just wasn't possible by nature of
Mm-hmm.
technology or access to musicianship
Yeah.
that people within the last 50 years had.
Yeah.
Because, you know, big band ends and then it's bands.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
big bands and then the 4-piece singer, guitarist, bassist, drummer
Yes,
format
yeah.
really starts to take
In the
in
60s and 70s, yeah.
the 50s even. With like
50s, yeah,
early
yeah.
surf music or whatever. Like they were just
right, yeah.
very isolated.
Yeah.
Something about the 80s, the technology of the time and the ability to program computers to play sound opened up this opportunity for really, really complex songwriting,
Yeah.
tempo-wise, harmony-wise,
Yeah.
chord voicings, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got really, really, really good. And then the 90s kind of overshot that a
Right,
bit.
yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened with lead guitarists in the 80s for me, is that the technology, the guitar technique, because, you know, guitar solos
Yeah.
essentially died in the late 80s as
Yes,
far
yeah.
as how we understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously all grunge music had guitar solos in it, but it's nothing like
Nothing like yes.
Van Halen.
No, it isn't.
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and there's something about 80s metal that is, because something, you know, Bill, the family friend, the long-haired family
Yeah.
friend I have,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guitar player that taught me to play guitar when I was 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can solo, or you can be as,
Does he play some 80s metals?
no,
No.
he's a huge
He's all
huge
90s.
grunge head.
Yeah.
Like I want to, that's actually, he's coming up in a month or two.
Okay.
I want to sit down and record every song we've ever gigged
Yeah. that'd
and
be
just
awesome.
put together a thing.
Yeah.
And just be like, here's all the 90s music we know how to play, just to
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it, you know, put it together. But because I have all this recording equipment and stuff, and
Yeah.
this whatever. But there's some, you know, like that's something that like Jerry Cantrell did. I think that the 90s did well, whether you're talking about like Mike McCready of Pearl Jam. I'm not a Pearl Jam guy.
Right, yeah.
But
yeah.
Mike McCready was very good at it, or like Screaming Trees was good at it. What's it, Mark Lanigan or whatever. They did this thing where you solo and you're good, but only insofar as it serves the song.
Mm.
You subjugate yourself to the composition in your soloing or whatever. It's like you're just gonna do a little, you know, you're just gonna because there is something to, I don't remember who said it, whether it was Polly or somebody else, but like something about the guitar solo is so extremely masculine.
Yeah.
Because like Albert King literally held his guitar out from his crotch
Right,
and like
yeah.
soloed onto the crowd, which, you know, essentially is a symbolic
Or like Prince.
like ejaculation of, you know,
Yeah.
it's extreme.
Like
and like
Prince would
was
be fucking his
yeah.
guitar on stage,
Yes,
basically.
yes, yeah, which
Yeah.
is it's the ultimate male sexual
It is,
symbol
yeah,
in
yeah.
music.
Yeah.
But there's something about, especially the late 80s,
I
that
do
took
like
it.
Prince's solos.
Oh yes, I know.
It's
But he
amazing.
did it insofar as it served the song.
Yeah.
He didn't ever go beyond something about like Van Halen, especially, is that he went so insane
Yeah, yeah.
that it just didn't serve the song
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
It just became more than the song was.
Yeah.
And it just became a reflection of him, and I find that very boring. I don't care about Eddie Van Halen as a person.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want to hear his shredding over and over and over and over and over and
Yeah.
over. I like Slash.
Slash is the same
Like in the
way,
late
yes, yeah.
80s, it's just gets very boring.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't. It's just masturbatory.
How about like in Sweet Child O' Mine?
It's just masturbatory.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't care about it.
Yeah,
It's so, the fact that
I think that's one of the best Guns N' Roses songs, though.
I think Knocking on Heaven's Door is one
It's a
that
good
I
one
really
too.
like.
Yeah.
I've not spent much time with Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses beyond
Mm.
the radio, and I don't think that listening to them would alter my opinion.
Oh yeah, probably not.
I just don't
yeah.
really care. It's just there's something about it that's so. It's like why my mom. One of my youngest musical memories was my mom saying that Mariah Carey annoyed her because she wouldn't stop belting.
Right,
Just sing the song for a minute.
Yeah.
Like stop like. It's like stop with that.
Yeah.
We get that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Every American knows you can do that.
Yes.
Stop for a second and just sing the song.
Yeah.
And I think that stuck with me a bit. So like 80s metal.
It's kind of like that.
There's a lot of metal in the 80s. I get it.
I know, but
but hair metal refers to a certain group of people.
That we all kind of just
Bon Jovi was
another one.
It's just it's stadium music that it just doesn't do much for me at all.
Yeah.
Lyrically not super interesting. Song composition's not super interesting.
Lyrically is definitely not.
It just doesn't do much for me. But my comment on like guitar technology is that like that music did a lot to. Because like in the like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, even I really don't like Keith Richards of Rolling Stones. I think he sucks. But like they were doing things to. Jimi Hendrix is a good example. Even though when he sings, it makes me want to die. His guitar playing is amazing. But like I actually like early Santana. It's pretty great. But like they were doing things to their pushing the envelope as to like what guitar can sound like and sound good.
Yeah.
And if the kind of the mandate of making new music is like make the guitar sound cooler every single time. At a certain point, it's just stupid.
Yes.
Especially into the mid '80s, this is just stupid now.
Yes.
This isn't entertaining anymore. This is just stupid. And then something about the grunge music, which isn't a sound, it's a scene, which is something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
But brought it back to they started innovating in ways that were not with tunings or something, but like
right.
I don't know if you know what that is, but like you know what a tuning is?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay, good. That's what ruined me. It's really hard for people who don't know me to play music with me because I'm like, this song is an open G with F sharp on the third, whatever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I just wanted to present a case why I don't care about 80s metal at all.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, grunge starts in the late 80s and it's a huge hangover from like hair metal and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're doing that like impress thing. Because that's what hair metal is essentially how far can you come shot?
Yes.
How far does your ejaculate reach when you reach climax? But like it evolved into something that was much more rich and interesting than it was. But
I see what you mean. Yeah. I think the reason why some people still like hair metal is when the type of people that tend to still like it, I think, are just ones that are, I guess, the appeal about it is that it is just fun.
I think it can be. I'm not saying that there's no hair metal songs I enjoy.
It's almost like child's play. It's like
which is insane because it requires extreme technical mastery.
No, not for them to play it. I'm just meant to listen to.
Have you ever listened to like Yngwie Malmsteen and stuff like that?
I haven't heard this, no.
Okay, he's the guy that did the like. He would transpose classical era, technically speaking, music onto electric guitar.
Oh, okay.
So he did like. I'll send you a video or something. But like he did like classical compositions like onto electric guitar, and it just was. I would wash his feet, like I'd dry his feet with my hair.
Yeah.
Skill wise, like I would just prostrate myself before him as far as his technical mastery. Yeah. But musically, I find it just not interesting.
Yeah, and I think like some of the things that I think got lost in the 90s was, like you said, that kind of masturbatory solo guitar. That sometimes
Soundgarden never lost that. I think that's why I like them.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it
Yeah.
did get ridiculous in the 80s.
Yeah.
But then I think
Wait, you got lost, or it was
no, it was no longer.
omitted.
It was kind of omitted.
Okay, because I don't want to say lost because I think the
Yeah.
90s was better than the 80s rock wise.
Oh yeah, but I guess the way that they rejected a lot of that hair metal.
They did eventually.
Yes.
Every single grunge band essentially originally,
Yeah.
like Facelift by Alice in Chains from 1990. That's a metal album. That's not grunge.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Like Ultra Mega OK and Louder Than Love by Soundgarden before the bassist switch. That's a metal album. There's the roots of what would come later.
Yes.
But
that
Chris
ultimately-
Cornell is up in the Cornelosphere screaming. Like,
Right, yeah.
It's jacking off.
Yes,
But they
yeah.
lost that.
Yeah, they
over
did. Yes.
time.
Yeah. And that's all that I mean that by lost.
Yeah.
Is that they kind of got rid of that kind of sound that
Which I think is good. I think it's
yes,
actually
right,
one
which
in
is
their
yeah,
favor.
because it did become laughable. I just remember growing up in the 90s, and you would
It's
listen.
just silly.
Yes, you
It's
would
just-
listen to the 80s metal, and you would laugh at them and be like, why did anybody ever take this serious? That is how a kid from the 90s, a teenager from the 90s, I should say, kind of reacted to all of that 80s
This is
sound.
very interesting because
Yeah.
like you're 40 this year.
Yeah.
Better off dead. That's what I said forever ago.
Yeah.
If Anne Marie ever flies up, can we have her on?
Mhm.
That'd be fun.
Of course, yeah.
For the gag.
Yeah.
We'll be nice.
Yes.
She can't handle when we're not nice. That's fine. What were we talking about? You said something about 90s. Oh, when I talked to
Oh, yeah.
Bill, Bill's gonna be 40. God, he's gonna be 48. I have to make fun of him.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when he talks about it's when he talks about, so you would have grown, you were like when Dirt came out, you were like 9.
What year?
It was 1991, 92, 91.
Yeah.
You'd have been like 10 years older.
Yeah, yeah.
Which means you were aware that like Rooster was on the radio.
Right, of course.
But he's 8 years older than you are.
Yes,
so like
so he's
he
a-
was a different, he talks about this as like this, it's significant to him in the way that something would be significant to a person while it was happening.
Yes, yeah.
You know, when you talk to a British guy and he's like, yeah, I went to Led Zeppelin show in like 1970.
Yes, yeah.
That's a different thing than like me, who I was born at the time that Alice in Chains was breaking
right,
up.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Like, so Alice in Chains' first career run was ending when I was born.
Yes.
I
yeah,
look back at it, so I see different things out of it.
yeah. Of course, yeah.
It means different things to me.
Which happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I found the same thing with like the 2000s kids when they were really trying to bring up much of the 80s. It's because they never experienced it. And so I think it was more like they looked back at that and they saw things that people who were teenagers in the 80s and kind of experienced all of that didn't really see. And so when you talk like to Mary is an 80s teenager for life, right? That's the way her behavior is.
Yes.
That's the way her taste in music is.
Born the same day and
Yes.
year as my father.
She
they were born within hours of each
yeah.
other.
And so it's like then when you have like the people who were teenagers in the mid to late 2000s who were trying to revive much of the 80s sound.
They just didn't understand why it was a.
Yeah, they did. I think some of them probably did. Some of them are very well read in music and understanding. But I do think there's a difference between those who reflect back on what came before them and then talking to Mary.
Yeah.
It's like talking to Mary who kind of lived that is different.
She has
than,
really weird, specific preferences on
Yes,
things that
it
make
is.
no sense.
Yeah, because a lot of it is social,
Oh, yeah.
and that's the thing is that you are able to reflect on the music.
You know
more-
what's really funny?
Yeah,
That music for me, and this is gonna age me, so you guys have to not call me a baby. Is that I had that same experience where I was like, this is a fucking banger, but it sucks.
Yeah.
Was I was listening to that I don't even remember what the album's called, the Black Eyed Peas album with like I've Got a Feeling on it and stuff.
Yes,
from like
yeah.
the like 2008.
yeah.
I was like, wow, I grew up with that. I'm like, this is awesome, but like
Yeah, yeah.
really stupid.
yeah, yeah,
And like someone who's born 5 years ago is going
Yeah.
to come back to me like that album by the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
Exactly. Blah, blah. They're going to tell me like Fergie did something innovative on it, and I'm going to be like, I don't know what you're talking
Exactly.
about.
Yeah. And
Like I'm a Bees, just a banger.
yeah. And I think that's what, because I think one of the very first conversations we had with Stewart's about music was with about Soundgarden.
Yeah, and
Right?
you were like, anybody who liked Soundgarden after like 1993, 94
Exactly.
was a loser.
Yeah, it's just
They were a sellout.
Yeah, everybody called them sellouts,
Yeah.
and like Amanda was more into that than I was, so she could explain to you even more so.
Soundgarden's awesome.
But yeah, when people,
Okay.
because they became mainstream.
Yeah.
And so when they became mainstream, they called them sellouts. They had other.
Well, that was also one of the first generations to mainstreamness was somehow a knock against your quality.
It was, right, yeah.
And we've talked about that before.
Yeah, we
but
did,
like,
yeah. And so, and I think it's the same thing with a lot of these 80s people, is that you can't, like, you're able to analyze that music based on this aesthetic of its music. And I think people who live through that generation, it's difficult for them to kind of divorce the social aspect from that music.
No,
if that makes sense.
well, I think
Yeah.
that because music is the way you most intimately experience beauty, or it's the medium that is the most passive.
Yeah.
As far as the way we experience it, that there's something about the passivity of it that is colored by
Yeah.
the context of the experience more than other art is.
Right, yeah. Because it's like certain images kind of come to your head, certain feelings of that time.
It's almost like smell. It's
yeah.
the smell of art.
Yes, it's weird. It's
yeah.
like if you turn one of those songs on that I haven't heard for so long, right?
You're like, phew, in the
it
wormhole.
kind of
yeah.
everything about it. You know, you start.
That's when I Got a
yeah.
Feeling came on. I was like, damn.
It's weird like that. Yes, yeah.
It's like I was in the 8th grade on the bus.
Yeah.
Like listening.
Yeah, even if you didn't like
Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
that's really a part of your generation.
I know. I was like, whoa.
Yes. And I
I
think
know what seat on the bus I was on.
yes, yeah, and that's what those type of music I think that does for
Yeah.
people of my generation, is that it's just, and probably Bill even more so, because I guess he was
He was there.
like 18, 19 when 1993 probably, right?
So he was born in 1974. So in 1993, but 1819.
Yeah, 18,
Yeah.
19. So that'll be really, really into him, because, you know, in my teenage years, more like 96 or whatever when I started.
Late 90s.
Yeah. And so there's a different kind of experience that I would have with him, because
But whatever. I mean, you were
Yeah.
still there.
I was, yeah. But it still is an intimate part of the social environment of what all that stuff meant. It's like,
And there's something about the passivity of the experience of music that ingrains
Yes.
it in the social more than any other.
yes,
form of art.
yeah, I would think so.
Film kind of.
Yeah,
but,
film not as much.
But it's because there's sound involved. It would
Right, yes.
there'd be an element of that.
But music is like it encompasses a lot of the aesthetics, the way that people dress, the way that they speak.
Well, and the way that
the
like
lingo that they
religious
use,
like liturgies sound different.
where it has music in it.
Yeah.
And that's where you started to really see the separation in the 90s. It was like people just started to kind of identify with these things, and they dress a certain way and they talked a certain way. But then, you know, in my teenage years, a lot of it was also the transition to
You were. I mean, I was a teen in as weird of a time as you were a teen.
right. Yes. Yeah.
Which is something we
Because
share. But
the
the late 90s was weird.
Yes.
Aesthetically.
Yeah, it was, because, you know, you saw like because when did Kurt Cobain die and stuff? That was like 94, 95.
Was it? Okay.
I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 94 or 93.
It was that early?
I don't think it was that
Anyway,
late. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, and so it was kind of the mid 90s. And in the mid 90s is when you start to see some of the transition to like pop.
It was 94.
94, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because I kind of
He died like right when Super Unknown was coming out?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that live what was it, that thing was his last live show ever, the one on MTV Unplugged.
That was his last live show?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow, that's poetic.
Yeah.
Don't make me like Kurt Cobain. I don't like him.
But the death of Cobain, in many ways, culturally,
He died a month after Super Unknown came out. That's
Did he? Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, a lot of the death of that whole scene, it began to happen with him. Right after he died, there was a transition with a youth that they were kind of moving away.
Well, the mid '90s was a huge shift
of that, yes.
To
like boy bands. And
well,
a lot of
even rock wise, like
even
Stone Temple Pilots wasn't a big deal until
exactly
right then.
Yes, and then rock started,
which is another band I really enjoy.
Yes, yeah.
But
and so it was like I don't know, like a lot of these bands just have a significant.
Well,
social,
grunge.
Yeah,
was like 5 years.
Right, it was short.
Like boom. Done.
It was actually it was actually very, very, very short. And
yeah.
What's that not business, that label in Seattle that kind of signed
Sub Pop.
Yeah, Sub Pop. Yeah. Because I remember I think that was one of the times it was like 92 or 93 when what's his name, Soundgarden rejected them. And
Chris Cornell.
Yeah, Chris Cornell left them and they went to a bigger label. And I remember that was.
Well,
the big
I also
deal.
think that anybody who listens to any of what is it? It's Nirvana. It's so hard for me to even include Nirvana and Soundgarden in the same.
Yeah.
That's why it refers to a sphere. It refers to a scene rather than a sound.
Yeah.
Because I understand that there's certain really peripheral and accidental sonic similarities between Nirvana and Soundgarden. There's nothing musically similar as far as composition and songwriting go at all. Really.
Yeah.
None. It refers to a scene because if you listen to those two side by side and you understand the structure of the music, there's nothing.
What is it then that people are hearing similar then?
It's a scene. It's because it happened at the same time. They were gigging together and they all knew each other. Yeah. Like Alice in Chains.
Yes, yeah.
I think it was Jerry Cantrell was at an early Soundgarden show between Facelift and Dirt. So 90 to 91, 92.
Because I would say like Alice in Chains is very different
than
like Nirvana.
Very different.
Like
but they're the same thing.
Right,
it's the same scene. It's because they literally were all living within like several blocks of each other.
Yes.
Literally. Yeah. And like
but there is something that I would say those, like if you take those, I think the four big ones you could say is Alice in Chains, Pearl Jams,
Nirvana and
Soundgarden, right?
Yeah.
You could take those four and you still would find them profoundly different from the 80s.
Yes.
Like there is something similar in terms of sound, not just scene, but there's something similar in terms of sound.
And I think that the similarity of sound is accidental to the fact that they were living around each other. Because
but specifically, what is that? Would you say? Like, what is it that people could say?
This is an example of a similarity. Yeah. So Alice in Chains releases Facelift, and I don't remember if Facelift. I'm playing like Man in the Box in my hands.
Yeah, you make
Oh, I've played that at open mics and like this puts me back playing it in my hand. But I don't think Facelift had much drop D in it, which means that you take the low E on a guitar and you drop it to D. And I'm explaining that to you. Everybody else, there's going to be half the audience knows what that is. But it's E, A, D, G, B, E is the tuning of a guitar. But then if you take that E at the bottom and you tune it down to D, that's a drop D. Or a double drop D if you take both the E's down, whatever. There was at one point, I think Jerry Cantrell was in the audience at a Soundgarden show and they had detuned their low string and he heard that and he was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And then he detuned after that. So a lot of their sonic similarities in the way they played with tunings was...
That's what people are finding similar.
Because it's a scene.
Yeah.
If you have like a very close-knit community of people doing something at the same time, there's going to be some kind of theme to it.
Yes.
But if you listen to like Alice in Chains, like Jar of Flies, and you compare that to like Nevermind, it's just songwriting-wise, it's obviously totally different.
Right.
But like Eddie Vedder was Temple of the Dog was fronted by Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell.
Yes, yeah.
Mad Season had two of the guys from Screaming Trees, the guitarist from Pearl Jam, and the singer from Alice in Chains all in the same band. Like there's just a lot of cross pollination between projects that happened.
Yeah.
So when you say grunge wasn't coined until years later.
Right, yeah.
No one was calling it grunge at the time.
They were at least by 94, 95.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
someone, I mean, like, it started like 86, 87.
Right, yeah.
And like 8 years later, someone comes up with a term for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't referring to a sound per se.
Mm-hmm.
It was a group of people doing something at the same time in the same place that
Yeah,
by
yeah,
nature
yeah.
of that fact
Yeah,
sounded
and
similar.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but all I'm saying is that you can hear just like 5 seconds of a grunge song and you know that is grunge. Like you don't have to know anything about it.
Which is funny because
you
I
don't
think,
have to know anything of the singer, what song it is. You just know that's a grunge sound.
because then post grunge happened
Yes.
in the late 90s and
Yeah.
you can hear that and it sounds different.
It sounds different, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like what is it? What is it? Tiny Gifts from the Vatican Gift Shop, which is a Stone Temple Pilots album.
Yeah, yeah.
They came from California, which is a different scene.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But they filled in a gap.
They did,
sound
yes.
different.
Yeah, and you could tell when it's different.
Yeah, totally
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff at the same time, but it just sounds.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that like place affects music so much. Because you can tell listening to the Strokes and Yeah Yeah Yeahs or something that came from the same scene,
Yeah.
like from the early 2000s or whatever. You can hear it, and you just know.
That's the early 2000s.
Yeah, you just hear
yeah. Now,
and a lot of that
definitely
has
know.
to do with the fact that certain places are the locus of music of a certain time period,
Yeah.
and like the
Well, just like food and wine, it's the same thing. It's like it does the environment, both the time period and the specific location affect the taste and everything.
and
with the foods.
certain locations and places
I think affect the
and
music
sounds
as well.
are in taste at different times.
Right. Yes.
Because I know Seattle was a nowhere city before.
It wasn't. Yeah. Until the grunge,
Yeah.
the grunge movement kind of just put them on the scene, and they kind of just
Because everybody was bored of hair metal.
yeah they were and they developed
Who
a
was
certain
that? Who's that guy? Remember that used to come into Stewart's all the time with the like ivy cap and the glasses and the tattoos, and he always shot film. He had the the Nikon F2 without the viewfinder on it. That he
I
shot.
actually don't know him.
What was his name? I used to talk to him all the time when he would come in. Always.
Was he a hair metal person?
No, but he used to talk about how he used to go to really early Soundgarden shows with his mom in Seattle.
Oh, really?
I was like, dude, you were there.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just weird because I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't born until a year before Soundgarden fell apart, and
Yeah.
Alice in Chains had played their final show as the original
Yeah,
lineup,
yeah.
So like it was just weird that he's like, yeah, I remember Chris
And
Cornell.
it's
earlier.
weird how drastically that same location, even this like Sub Pub, I think, were the people that brought up what's her name, like postal service and stuff.
Yeah, it's so different.
It's so drastically different, and it's like, but there's the same label.
Postal service is quite boring.
Yeah, and it's the same label, it's the same area.
Did you ever
and
spend
everything.
any time going to shows for bands or anything?
Me? No,
Okay.
I don't care to. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, don't
Yeah.
apologize. I was
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah,
You talk as a historian and not a appreciator. It's just it's really
Yes.
interesting
because
because I don't have conversations like that. with
My
people.
biggest reason is because it has nothing really to do with whether I like or dislike music. I don't like the weird religious aspect of concerts.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody's kind of worshiping them, and it really turns me off. I just like I want no part of it.
Interesting.
I would rather just listen to.
Do you
the
know who
music alone.
Metric is?
Metric? No,
You've heard you've like even in stores or something.
probably yeah.
They had like one song.
What's the
Help
famous
I'm
song?
Alive. I'll send it to
Okay,
you.
yeah.
You would
Once I hear it,
maybe-
I would know it.
Maybe
Yeah. What years were they?
started in like 90 or 98.
Okay.
But they didn't get like big until like the late 2000s.
Okay.
So this would have been in my time period.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Metric and
Yeah.
through high school and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been to their shows like 5 times.
Right,
And being in Alaska, you have to fly to state. I've flown out of state to like meet them multiple
Nice, yeah,
times
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But like, there's something about if you have a band that understands that they're participating in something and not
Yeah.
creating it,
Yeah.
it's unmatched.
Yeah.
Like if you have a beautiful mass service, and
Yeah.
then just under that is like beautiful show experience. Like,
No, I think that's true, and I think that's why it is a religious thing for many people.
Yeah.
And because I remember asking my mom since I was a kid when I see these people like cry, and they're in a concert and they're like reaching their hands out. It has always,
there's this. Okay, so
it's always weirded me out.
So I'll explain. So even just watching the video. So I think it was 2001 or 2002. There's a Japanese band, Number Girl.
Yeah.
Who was really big in like the garage rock. Japanese garage rock is like second to none.
Yeah, yeah.
Much of Japanese math rock, all of the best Japanese music all the best music of the 21st century is Japanese for some reason.
Yeah.
Because they understand beauty better than the West does at this point. But
yeah.
anyway, there's this video of the last number of the last, because every band now like gets back together in like their 50s.
Okay,
I find it very pathetic and weird.
Yeah.
You're making royalties off of stuff. Just go away.
Yeah,
like you don't have to come back. Like everybody's a nostalgia act now, but Number Girl playing their last number of their last show, and he's on like the singer's on the venue, and he looks like an engineer.
Yeah.
He's got like a button-down plaid shirt and like glasses.
Right.
And he's smoking a cigarette and just talking about, this is the last show we're playing, the last song, last stage. Thank you for everything, whatever. And they're like playing their song and they're like going into the breakdown and thing. And then like right at the beginning of the song, there's this part where like they all like mute and then hit, and the whole audience jumps and yells at the same time as they do that mute. And it just like sends shivers down my spine. Because like the whole audience knows this thing, and they're all like, you could kill all of them in that moment and they would be fine with it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's such a heightened experience of beauty, you could just nuke the place and everybody would be fine.
Yeah.
And like, it just the video makes me like tear up.
Does it? Yeah, yeah.
Because I've had experiences like that.
Yeah. No, that's interesting though. But yeah, for me that's the biggest.
It just doesn't happen to you. It just doesn't.
Maybe it would. I just don't want it to. It weirds me out. There's something about it that's just so creepy. Like I don't.
I think it's when the band understands they're participating in something and not creating.
It's really the same way. The reason why I'm so mean to celebrities.
Yeah.
Is like there's something about them.
Would you be mean to Milo?
I wouldn't call him a celebrity.
I have a lead on him, but.
Do you? Yeah. No, I wouldn't think of him as a celebrity. I mean, if he acted like one, I guess I probably would be kind of a dick, but he probably like it. No, but people that just, I don't know. Like every time I meet them, it might be a bit narcissism. Like
I think it is 100% a lot of that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that. I just feel like they have nothing to offer me that I find truly that valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Like I find truth.
I think
valuable.
it has a lot to do with the fact that music doesn't do that much for you on an
no,
level.
Just them as a person.
Yeah.
Like even if their music is something that I would love to listen to,
yeah.
I don't like to meet them, nor do I really want to see them, because it's almost as if they think that they're giving me something that I kind of need. I was like, I don't need you. I don't
think that's what concerts are.
I don't even really want. I think a lot of it is not. You look at concerts, they dig it. They love that people are holding up lighters or now cell phones.
Of course, and I think that's from the band.
They scream at them.
I think a lot of it. It's for me this weird obscure bands or whatever. It's being surrounded by people that love the art that you do to the same degree.
Yeah.
Is just a weird, hyper-specific experience. I don't love it enough to pursue it like crazy.
Yeah.
But I've been in moments where it's just like you're completely out of body.
Yeah.
And like there's something about, and again, it depends on the artist.
Yeah.
Musical or whatever, where there's a if they recognize they're participating in something, whether or not they understand that.
Yeah.
You're not the art.
Yeah.
You are partaking of something.
Yeah.
If an artist understands they're partaking of something and makes something beautiful, it's almost like again, this metric band that I was really into, there's there's this extreme humility where they're like, we don't know, we just make this thing and people like it, whatever. There's like, I'm up at the front underneath the stage.
Yeah.
And like right there, and I just throw up like this thing at her, at the singer. No one else is doing that, and she just flashes it back at me.
Yeah.
And she just says like peace. She's like whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is this weird moment of like humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that there's something about that, but like I wouldn't enjoy going to a hair metal jizz all over the concert with your solo show. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't care about that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to explain it as if I think it is bad or wrong. I'm just saying
it's just why it's what phenomenologically it just doesn't go with.
It's what I find distasteful about it. I would rather listen to music without knowing the person or engaging with them, just for the pure aesthetic of the music, than it is for me to go to a place and it's almost like a quasi veneration towards them. And I just don't care for that. For me, they are nothing. Yeah. They are just what they are is just pieces of shits like all of us. And so I have no reason why I should be down here and you're up there. Yeah. For me, that dichotomy just pisses me off. It's like, no, I should be up there just along with you because you are nothing and I am nothing. We're all pieces of shits. And so it's that entire thing. And so I don't, if I know that if I go to like I've shot.
So you can't even sit down and like, if someone's going to play a piano in a concert hall and you were just going to watch them.
Like if I'm part of the masses, no, I'm not with those momos. It's like, no, I'm not just,
Okay, so it is narcissism. Narcissism, psychologically speaking.
Yeah, kind of, but also it isn't that I want to elevate myself; it's that I want to bring them down, and that's what it is. It isn't.
What if they're so far beyond you in skill that you ought be in awe that God speak through them in their skill at all?
Then they should be in awe with me, with my philosophy. That's the way I feel.
Okay, it's like, yes. So it's your pride. It's pride. That's fine. You said that. You said that.
Yes, say maybe.
I'm not going to beat you up for it.
But what I mean is that I just don't think that.
Why should someone respect you in your philosophy if you're not willing to sit there and respect them?
No, I said that if you want me to respect them, they should respect me too. But I don't think they ought to respect me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I'm a piece of shit and you're a piece of shit. You got this skill. You got this gift. Great. It's awesome. I will listen to it. That's fine. But I'm not going to be...
No, I get your point. Yeah, but I also see the extreme debilitating pride in it.
Do you really?
Yes.
How is that? I want you to explain to me how that's pride. Actually.
I'm not going to be able to.
Why not?
You're going to have some kind of thing.
I won't. It would just be a regular explanation. Because I do think it's pride.
I don't think that you are... I don't think you are able to selflessly... And it just, it's, is it because you're literally having to sit there and watch them in a ceremony to you that like,
it's somewhat
bothers you?
It's somewhat ceremoniously.
Okay.
Yeah. That's something that's bothersome. The other thing,
it's the ceremony of it.
Part of it, but the other part of it is their psychology of what they're doing.
Okay.
Is that, like, it's the same thing if I go to a big lecture and, and I have to watch, who came by Leuven? I think it was it was the Churchlands, right? Pat and Paul Churchland. And they came there to talk philosophy and whatever. Mm-hmm. I felt the same way. It was like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. If the words that come out of your mouth are beautiful and true, it is the words in which I care about. You as a person and me in the audience. That's what I don't care for, because it creates a dichotomy in which the person is elevated to a position where I don't think they ought to be elevated, because I don't think any of us ought to be.
Okay.
Not so much that I ought to be in that position too. It's like, no, none of us ought to be. What we should recognize is the beauty or the truth or the goodness, and those things are worth engaging. So
you enjoy the beauty separated from the person doing it.
100%, yes.
More than
like going to the concert is the part of going to the concert is being close to the person developing the music. Like that. And so there is a sense of admiration for that. But
is the performance itself of the music not also beautiful?
If it's like a play, I guess. But if it's just them playing, not really. It's just them rocking out.
So here.
Yeah.
As a person, I don't want to say music. I hate calling myself a musician.
Yeah.
Or a singer or whatever. no one, I don't think most people on the podcast have ever heard me sing, but like whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's something I am truly impressive at doing.
Yeah.
If anything in life at all, I can sing impressively, and
Yeah.
I don't, it's not arrogance if you can back it up.
Of course, yeah.
I sing impressively.
Yeah.
That's fine with me or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily have to prove that to anybody, but as someone who has spent 15 years or whatever playing instruments, there is something so beautiful to me about being in the same room at all as someone who is a virtuoso piano player just doing it.
Yes, yeah.
That is transcendently beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And it's not about I couldn't name a virtuoso musician.
Mm-hmm.
But watching them do it is part of that's a human being doing that thing.
Yes.
That's a human being playing the piano like that or the guitar like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any names. It's not about the person for me.
Yeah.
And this, again, music is such a passive, it's the most subjectively experienced art form of art, I think. And we've talked about that before. But when I've been to a show, it's not about, I'm not exalting the person in any way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and I mean this serious, and I'm not speaking for anybody else. This is just how, I think you and I are on the same.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, and I agree with it.
Yeah.
But it's the way that I like Metric or whatever, it discusses it is it's essentially it's not just them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a mutual experience of a thing. This is a thing we both get to do.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm not exalting anybody. It's about the whole experience of the thing, whether or not they made the music or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's what you do, but I think in general, that is what most people do.
And send me direct messages listening to this, like how you experience music or whatever.
It's just that the point of going to a concert in its essence of what it is isn't just to listen to the music. It is to be in the presence of the musicians.
Because for me personally,
because
to go to it's music I like enough to pay to listen to.
Right. Yes.
In a room.
Yes.
Being played.
But then,
not a recording.
But what I mean is that then having everybody turn their back on them would be still the same experience if it's just about the music. Yeah. But it's not. Yeah. Part of it is to be in the presence of the musician. Mm-hmm. And so that's the aspect that I am unable to like if you put on a show like Lady Gaga, sometimes she has this fantastical play type of things with costumes and everything. I would say I'm more inclined to go to that than I would be inclined to go to a concert where I'm just looking at people playing instruments. Because at least one of them you're giving me a narrative. Yeah. There's something that I can engage with.
Oh, so this same band, so Metric, sorry. One of my I actually been to one of her solo shows. Yeah, yeah. Where it was for Choir of the Mind, her, what year would that have been? 17, 18 solo album. Yeah. The way the concert is structured is it's a play. Yeah. Where they play pre-recorded sounds of her speaking. Yeah. Emily Haynes, the singer of Metric. This is a really ridiculous band to be a huge fan of because it's so not respected. But it's her speaking over her acting, then playing songs, and then her speaking. It's like multiple layers of narrative. And then she's like, narrates that the Emily Haynes representative character has to play a show, and then it's a show within a narrative, and then it plays for long enough that you forget that it's a play. Yeah. And then the voice kicks back in and you're like, oh, this show you just watched was actually a narrative. Yeah. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because then you're watching something beyond itself.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because there's some of these plays where they have live music, but the live music is like under the stage.
They're in the, what is that called?
Yeah.
The pit.
Right, because I'm there to experience like this beautiful narrative, and the music heightens that and it produces something more beautiful. And so, I think that there's a difference with that kind of show. And so that kind of show, I'll be like, yeah, I'll be more willing and desire to go.
No, I would agree. There's there's a deification of musician.
Right.
Not that I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, and again, I don't want to be too autobiographical.
Yeah.
Or reflexive in my argumentation. Right, yeah. I don't do that.
Right. Yeah.
That's not how I.
But yeah, but there's a lot of people that do, and I would say the majority of them do.
I think that you and I are similar in that we're not uncomfortable meeting celebrities.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I'm more excited than you are.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not.
Oh yeah. For me, none of them.
I will say Canadians have really weak handshakes, but.
Do they?
Yes.
Which Canadian did you meet?
Metric.
Oh, they're Canadian.
Oh yeah, half of them are.
Yeah.
The Americans had really strong handshakes than the other ones did.
Oh yeah.
Canadians suck, but
yeah.
We should go to war. Let's invade Canada.
Yeah, I know. To do the Putin to Canada.
We see it do it to Ukraine. We're like, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, march into Toronto.
Yeah.
It's time.
We gotta shut our show down.
Canucks.
They're like, he's calling for war to Canada.
They shut down like U.S. banking. Like, we're not going to sell bourbon whiskey. Yeah, Europe isn't going to sell bourbon.
Oh man,
they've taken Regina, Saskatchewan. No, it's interesting. I know what you mean about there's a certain. That's what I don't like about 80s music is it's like the ultimate deification of guitarists.
Right, yeah.
That receded. I mean, seriously, name me.
Yeah.
If I went around to 1,000 people in Anchorage and I said, name me the lead guitarist of Pearl Jam.
Yeah, they're not.
And they're like, maybe the singer.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Name me the lead guitarist of Soundgarden. Name me anybody in Alice in Name me the drummer in Alice in Chains.
Yeah,
it was like a rejection of that.
I think the 70s and 80s were where you can normally name the guitarists. Like everybody knows
Jimmy Page.
The Negro,
Tommy Iommi,
the Negro. What's his name?
Jimi Hendrix.
That
was the 60s.
Yeah.
He died in like 69, 70.
Did he? Yeah.
27 Club.
And so that's normally where you see like much of that.
It's the cult of personality.
It is, yeah.
The 90s like rejected
all
in
of
a weird
that,
way, and I don't know if they did that intentionally. But like Chris Cornell had a solo career, so you could probably name him better. Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah.
Lane Staley drugged himself to death.
When you watch their interviews, a lot of them, I think, deliberately rejected all of that.
Well, they're all just like making fart jokes.
Right, yeah.
It, like 90s television reflected the same kind of thing.
Right, yes, yeah.
Like Beavis and Butthead really captured the sense of humor of the grunge scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
have you seen any Soundgarden interviews?
Oh yeah,
a lot of it they just shit on Smashing Pumpkins. Like
Billy
Corgan. They're all just like making stupid jokes at each other. And like,
that's the way that it was. But when they say serious things, many times they just want to reject it. They say like they don't want to be famous.
That's
like
why Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah.
So Kurt Cobain killed himself because his music was successful.
Right.
That makes me so angry. Dude, you made it, and then your response to making it was shooting yourself in the head.
Yes, yeah.
Like, what a dickhead. Why?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that still believe that his wife did it.
Courtney Love.
Yeah.
Did you just raise your hand?
There's a lot of 90s
I don't care.
people
Courtney Love is disgusting.
Yeah, I know. That's why they think she did it. Yeah, it's like they're proving the point. She's gross. She just wanted money.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain's like, oh, I'm successful, and I'm gonna shoot myself because my art. People like my art.
Yeah.
Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Maybe if that's proven, I'll stop hating Kurt Cobain. But
that was But that was a large part of like the 90s movement. It was like you had to say that you didn't want to be famous. Like that's virtually every.
And
90s
the reason that
musician.
Soundgarden didn't do that.
Yes.
Well, Soundgarden is technically the most skilled If you're
Right,
talking
yeah.
about just musical talent
Yeah.
and like virtuosity on instruments and in vocals and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
Soundgarden was number one.
Yeah.
But that's why I like them, because they're just the best.
Yeah, just objectively speaking.
Yeah.
I like how, what was that guy from Alice in Chains?
Lane Staley.
I like how
Jerry
a
Cantrell.
lot of his voice was very similar to David Lee Roth. It was just like this
You
very...
know what's interesting is
he carried along a lot of that 90s, the 80s vocal.
but he did
Yes.
things with it that were different.
He did, yes.
I've had to accept this because I remember someone going, "Ugh, turn that Axl Rose shit off," and I was like, nah.
Yeah, but he,
Lane Staley, like,
yeah, he carried
he
that.
grew up there, but he did more with it than the other people
Yes.
did.
But what I like about it is that it like I a lot of the other grunge, it wasn't as if they wanted to, like, what do you call that kind of voice? Is it falsetto or whatever?
What do you mean?
Like when it goes, yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you mean? What are you talking about?
Like
Falsetto is extremely rare.
is it?
grunge.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean. In most grunge, you don't see it, but I find it in Alice in Chains. You kind of see him hitting those notes.
I would have to hear examples of what you're talking about. But
It just, to me, it just sounds more like Axl Rose and
well, yeah.
and all
So,
them,
like,
yes.
Facelift, like Man in the Box is. What's what
Of
I'm
course,
saying
Man in the Box, yeah,
is that like Ultra Mega OK
Yeah.
by Soundgarden or Facelift or like these early
Yeah.
grunge albums were remachined extensions of metal.
Right, yeah.
But
yeah.
as you follow the progression,
Yeah.
it moves way away from it.
I know it does, yeah.
Way away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
it. Like it stops. It doesn't sound like it anymore.
Yeah.
Because they came out. They're literally like 20 years old,
Right, I know.
coming out of that hair
Yeah.
metal tradition.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess all I mean is that his voice kind of still carried that along, while I think the others moved away from it quite drastically.
Chris Cornell didn't as much either, but
Right, yeah. Because he could hit those notes, yes.
Bill and I call it the Cornellosphere.
Is it? Yeah.
Like in like Mind Riot off of Bad Motorfinger or something. It's
Right,
like he
yeah,
hits
yeah.
those like insane.
Yeah. And he still did it every once in a while.
launches into the Cornellosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 90s was not known for that. They were known more for that.
I think grunge aficionados know,
Yeah.
but the grunge started in the late 80s. Like it wasn't.
Right,
It
yeah,
wasn't the 90s yet.
Yeah. But it got
Like
his
Mudhoney
fame.
was,
It got
yeah.
his fame in the 90s.
It hit mainstream.
Yeah.
In 94, 95.
Yeah. That's when it was. Even I think before that, at least about 92, 93. It's that's where it kind of hit its stride.
Well, Man in the
and
Box was
everything
1990.
Yeah.
But
But-
no, I find it interesting. It's interesting having a conversation between someone who's looking at it in retrospective
Yeah.
and respects it more than anything, and somebody who like was there,
yeah.
even as like a kid, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
still,
Yeah.
you know, we're in like that weird generational gap where like you weren't like a fully formed person yet,
Yeah.
but you still you remember it happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Could have Bill to talk on about grunge or something.
Yeah.
It'd be a funny episode. Talk about creationism or something.
Oh, we should.
I could ask him. He'd come on.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
He drinks. He could have beer or something or whatever.
Good.
Doesn't like
Does he
wine.
have that country accent?
He has a East Texas accent, which is different.
Okay. That's good.
Sorry, he taught me to differentiate all the different Southern
Yeah.
accents, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
got long hair.
Yeah.
No, it would be fun. We should do that.
And next week is with Not a Podcast, guys.
Not a podcast.
Okay.
So Pulpo and Steppy of Not a Podcast will be coming on this next week if things work out.
Yeah.
They have crazy schedules.
Do they have any particular topic they want to talk about, or?
No, Steppy's a Protestant though. So
Okay. Good. Let's do it. It'll be fun.
no, it'd be interesting. It might be interesting. Pulpo
Yeah.
would just be like, scrotum or something. I
yeah.
I don't know. It'd be fun though.
Yeah.
You guys, you and Pulpo have the once you go into troll mode, it's you black out. You're just going for it.
Yeah. Go for the jugular.
Yes, I think that could be interesting. But
Yeah.
no, I think that's some entertaining, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to start having guests on again.
Mm-hmm.
You're just very bad at. You're bad at talking to people you don't know, because you haven't been able to watch them,
Right,
observe them a little bit.
Yeah.
This is why I was saying I have a feminine intuition, only metaphorically. I don't literally, because 2 minutes I know how to talk to people, and then I have to translate for you.
Yeah.
For like an hour.
Well, because the screen is so different. Like
No,
if someone's in person, it's
it's
different. Yeah.
But anyway, we get 2 hours 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's good.
We talked about grunge music the whole time.
I used the bathroom, so we should.
I know. You gotta pee.
Yeah.
Real hard. Piss. Women pee, men piss, right? Man, it just gave me the pity.
Yes.
You go like this. Watch. Amanda, watch me. Uh-huh.
I don't think I have enough attitude.
No, you do. No, you think you don't. She just said she doesn't have attitude. Sorry, I'm more flamboyant than you, but like, you do. Anyway, watching you talk to your children, you don't have attitude. Okay, we're done. We have to go pee. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.